Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV for this match reaction of Man City 4, Chelsea 0. We're also going to talk a little bit on transfer news later in the show. Owners. And we're going to have a discussion because there's a lot of heated conversations. I was even heated after watching that game yesterday. Don't get me wrong. I was fuming. I was livid after watching what I had seen from Chelsea yesterday. And we're going to discuss all of that. On top of that, we're going to open up the lines and give you guys the opportunity to come in and have your say. I need you guys to smash them likes. Let's get these likes up as quickly as possible, please. The aim is to try and close the gap to 50 to start with. So let's try and get to the 50 likes as quickly as possible on both channels. And yeah, lots to speak on, lots to get into. Forward should be joining me at some point today as well, so he'll be going through he'll be joining me and going through some of the topics that we've got as well. Lots to speak on, lots to get into. Let's cue the intro. Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV. And yes, it's a day later. Don't get me wrong, it's a day after the abysmal performance that we saw yesterday. And there was a lot of emotions running wild on social media. Chelsea fans feeling really, very upset. And rightly so. Rightly so, should they feel upset from the performances that we saw yesterday up against Man City. Because what we saw against Man City yesterday is just not Chelsea quality. It's not Chelsea level. And the one thing that we always demand from our players that wear the badge of this football club is a performance. Even if you lose. Make chances, run your hearts off, work as hard as you can as possible, and show the fans that you're actually trying. I don't think we got that yesterday. And that annoys me more than anything. And if you've known me for long enough, I've always stressed how annoyed and how frustrated I get when I see us play like we did yesterday. No mentality, no bottle, weak, not pressing, giving them time on the ball, conceding defeat. You know, it's just, it's hurting. It hurts that we're losing and we continuously lose. I know we've got injuries. We know that the injuries is an issue, part of an issue that we have at this football club at the moment. A lot of players out. But equally, we should still at least see performances. Now, yesterday, as much as we are going to talk about the players and we're going to get into that later on in the show and speak about that, we also have to speak about the setup, Potter himself, how he managed us throughout that period. And I'll be honest, look, he's getting a lot of hate at the moment. A lot of people were saying, get him out, not good enough, it isn't working. I don't think it's the answer still. I don't think that as Chelsea fans, the logical answer is to sack a manager now. Straight time needs to be given. And even if you like it or not, and if you think he's the right man or not, I think it's too early to call. But the one thing I will say is that he does need to start winning games. And if he doesn't start winning games, he's going to make it hard for himself. And ultimately, it's going to make the job of the owners hard. You know, okay, they've said, from what we've been told, Champions League, not getting Champions League is not an issue. That he's kind of got a free pass when it comes to this season. But ultimately, we still need to see results. Yeah, results from the players that we currently have. Now, I know, and we know, and we've said so many times on this show, how these players lack the consistency, how these players lack, the fight, the bottle. And yesterday we had a lot of youngsters starting. We had a couple of experienced players in there as well that let us down as well. But when I look at the game overall, barring the way that we were set up, and I disagree with the way Potter set us up in the first place, he should never have played, that midfield along with Gallagher, Ziyech and Mount. I wouldn't have done that, in my opinion. You have to look at the performance and how they played. And to be fair, it wasn't good enough. And yeah, we're going to get into it. We're really going to delve into it. Guys, big up to every single one of you guys. Nearly 100 of you here already. Big up to every single one. Let's quickly fly through the chat, say hello to everyone as well. But everyone's slightly annoyed. Leo, big up to you. Lee says, honestly, something has to change. Something seems really wrong at the football club. What's wrong with the football club is what I said when Potter took over, when people thought that we would see Potter ball. And I keep telling you guys, to be prepared for this, because I was prepared for it. I wasn't prepared for us to lose and play the way we are. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't prepared for that. I was prepared for us to be on a wave and have it quite hard this season. And I've always said that I don't trust these players. I don't trust most of them. I don't think some of them are even Chelsea quality. Some of them don't really look like they want to be here and play for the badge, in my opinion. You know, and there's a lot of things that go against the manager that's trying to get the best out of what he has. And if they can't listen to instructions, understand what he's, you know, requiring them to do, run for the badge, work hard, they still get paid a lot of money, by the way, as well. You know, show it on the pitch, and they don't. And I'm not saying it's all of them, because it's not all of them. We know who our good players are. We know who our shit players are. And there might be some in the middle that some people will say yay to and some people will say no to. But that's just down to preference. And that's normal with football. We all have preferences on who we want to stay and who we want to leave. But yeah, we're going to talk about Potter to start with, and then we're going to get into the players. And then we are going up the lines later. We've got a little bit of transfer news to get in as well. So yeah, bear with me. Over 120 of you here. Big up to every single one of you. Big Ron, nice to see you. Gavman as well, Fraser, Lewis looks in pain after that. I think we're all in pain, to be honest. We were all in pain. It's going to be a pain. Gary, I hope so. It can't get any worse than what it is at the moment. That's what I'm going to say, guys. M3, nice to see you as well. Corey, big up to you. And then we've got Chelsea OG said, I would say big up, but he's still down. CSC Pezlord. Big up to refresh the squad. I've seen us lose a lot worse against City under Conte and Sarri. Yeah, but not as many games as we have in a row. Still bad. Steve, nice to see you, bro. I won't be able to watch the rest of the live video. I'm going bowling. I suppose the bowling will get my mind off Chelsea. It's probably a better thing, mate. It's probably a better thing right now. Trust me. Big up to Chelsea Blue, Mo, NS Sports, Atref, Star Slayer, Arpan, Bantu. Fofana impressed me. I mean, look, he came on. He didn't get any service again. Again, another thing that we lack a lot of, and we always say, is the quality to create in this team, make chances for each other. Yet all they tend to do is do the opposite. I don't know what they do in training half the time. That they work on chemistry and link-up play and understanding the players that they play with. Do they not do this? Right, that's his strength. This is my strength. So when we're playing together, I know what we need to do to try and, you know, get the best out of him and me and whatever. I don't see that. I just see players on the pitch that look at each other like they don't know each other. Hi, just met you yesterday. That's what it feels like with a lot of our players. And it's felt like that for ages. Let's not cut corners. I always talk about the chemistry. The issue with the crop of players we have is the chemistry, the inconsistency in the performances, the lack of understanding, the knowledge, the everything, man. It's just so like that. There's no, if there's a scale, our scale is like that. And not for the good. That's how it feels. Ray Allen, big up to you as well. Lee Taylor, Mo, who else we've got? Ray Allen, big up to John Anderson, who is a member at Chelsea Fan TV as well, guys. There is the members options. If you ain't a member of Chelsea Fan TV, please do that. Over 150 of you guys here. Hit the likes. Hit them likes, guys. Hit them likes. Someone explain why Mount is asking for 300k a week. This is a prime Hazard money. Well, again, what I will say in all of this is that we're being told that apparently Mount wants 300k. Now, we've already seen with the Enzo Fernandes saga how true some of these journalists are. So, yeah, you can choose to believe it or not. To be honest, quite frankly, anything to do with Chelsea and journos that are supposedly linked to us and the news that they share right now, I do take of a pinch of salt. And that's just the way I see it. I will listen to all of what they've got to say and take bits from it. But when it comes to talking about players' contracts, players that come to Chelsea, etc., 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 I don't. Jim, our player can't even pass the ball to a player. Passes are behind the runs too far in front are to see players. What are we doing? Well, look, that is one of the things that really annoyed me in yesterday's game, was the fact that I don't know what our game plan was. What was it what were the instructions from Potter to the players when they come out? What was it that we was trying to do in the game? How was we approaching that game? How was we attacking that game? How was we, like, what was the idea to what we were doing? Because for 90 minutes, I sat there watching us getting slapped and was trying, and I forgot about the scoreline at this point. I was just like, forget it. I was trying to understand what it is that we were trying to do. What was it that we were trying to do on the pitch? How was we attacking it? You know, what was the idea? Because I asked it on Twitter. I asked everyone. I said, can someone explain to me what is it that we were trying to do yesterday? Because it was clueless. It was a mess. It was a mess. And we had experienced players on the pitch. And that whole left flank in the first half, poor Lewis Hall. The boy, you know, had to deal with Kyle Walker and Mahrez on his own. We had no left side. We literally had no left side. Like, I don't get the plan. And you can see it's not working, and we could see it was not working. I'm sure Potter can see it's not working. But there was no change. There was no, you know, he left it. Kovacic, I'm assuming, was playing off the left with Jorginho because they're the ones that kept occupying that space, I think. But the setup was all wrong. We were so unbalanced from the left, from the midfield. The defence got absolutely piled on. Our forward line was non-existent because we had no dribblers, no runners, nothing. It was a dead lineup. And I was not happy with the lineup when I saw it. But I gave it the benefit of the doubt. I said, you know what? I'm going to wait and see what the idea is. What is the game plan? What is it that we're going to try and do? And the truth is, there wasn't any game plan. Or if there was, the players didn't understand the instructions of what the game plan was. And this is where I get, you know, and look, I'm not one for Potter out. I've told you guys this. I don't think he goes anywhere yet. I don't think he's gonna leave anytime soon. However, he does need to start winning games, and he does need to get the best out of the players that he has. Because the one thing that Thomas Tuchel did do before he got sacked was somehow find a way to get them to play to a degree. And Potter's right. He's inherited this squad. He may have not wanted some of these players. He may not like some of the players in his team. Yeah. And that's where the benefit of the doubt gets given. But he still has to try and get the best out of these players, you know. And if it's a case of that they're not playing for him, then the answer is not get rid of the manager, guys. The answer is that we need to get rid of players that don't want to be here. And if it's players that don't want to play and are not interested or whatever of being at Chelsea, then bench them and play the young players. Play players that are going to play for the badge. Players that are going to play for Chelsea Football Club. I would rather go to the end of the season with all the youngsters, and give them a chance, because at least I know they're going to give it their all, given the opportunity, then play Hakim Ziyech, and I'm going to say it as well at the moment, him, Kai Havertz, and a couple of others, that just cannot, that are just not playing well. It's just not working. Ziyech, in his case, doesn't want to be here anyway. Gallagher, you know, running around like a headless chicken. Mason Mount, come back from injury, didn't look the same, and he's struggling to find his form currently at the moment. Havertz played as a number 9. We know he's not a number 9, but still gets played as a number 9, and equally his own performances and the way he's playing at the moment is not good. And ultimately, you can see the lack of confidence, the low of confidence that these players have at the moment, and it's affecting all of them. It's affecting all of them, and on top of all of that low confidence and the supposed leadership that we have, which we have no leaders, right? Part of the issue is that we have no one in there to get them a rocket up their arse, wake them up, get stuck in. Someone's, hit some hard tackles, win the ball back, try and get out the pitch, rally them, John Terry, Lampard, Didier Drogba, that style. We haven't got any of that. And that is a big problem. We have no bottle. We have no mentality. And it doesn't matter even if we play the experienced players. Azpilicueta and Jorginho are not leaders. They are the worst leaders I have seen at Chelsea Football Club. And on top of that, and it ain't just their fault, but on top of that, we don't have a spine of core leaders. So when you play these youngsters like you do yesterday, and these young players that you brought in like Datro Fofana, and play him up front, yeah? And you play him up front, they're playing in a team that has no spine that's guiding them. You know, and I half-heartedly feel a bit sorry for them. But I'd rather give them all of my trust at this moment in time and just play them and allow them to express and show us what they're about and what they can offer. Run around. What's going on here? I think my internet's gone funny. Am I still here? I am still here, yeah. I thought my internet went and then my internet's playing up. But yeah, you know, 250 of you guys here. Big up to every single one of you guys that are streamed in at the moment. And this is really annoying me as well, because people just list, you know, their brains. They don't listen to what I say. They just go, oh, you favourite. I criticise players when they're not good, including Kai Havertz. And at the same time, equally, I've defended him in certain instances when he's been in my side, in my reason, scapegoated, because in our, you know, in our low knowledge, ball knowledge of football, and some of these fans' heads is that if we just stop Havertz playing, the whole team's better. If we stop Mason Mount playing, the whole team's better. If we just stop playing one or two players, we're better. But it doesn't work like that, because what is it that's coming off the bench to play that? You know, to cover them, to come in and improve us, to make us look even better. That's the problem, equally. We don't have a very good squad. Our overall quality of our squad depth is not good, in my opinion. And there's a lot that needs to be done. But I understand that. And I've understood it for a very long time. People just talk about one or two players. That's your problem. Because you like one other player that ain't playing, and then you just pick on one other. That's a you thing. My issue is not about just Havertz or Mount. Yeah, my issue in general is the core, the way we play, the mentality, the bottle, the lack of leadership, the lack of players to stick a rocket up the arses of players when we're down and under like we was yesterday. The injuries is a problem. Of course it is. We can't ignore it. We've got the worst injury record from what I read the other day. Since last year to now, we've had more injuries than any other Premier League team. Key injuries. And it continues. Maybe we have to look at our medical team. I don't know. But we are suffering. And the players that are coming in for these players are not good enough. And as much as we can equally talk about injuries, and it's a massive part of why we're not playing well. I think any team would suffer with the injuries that we've suffered with. Yeah. We still should be seeing a better performance. Fight, passion, heart. And we didn't. And that goes to my first bit of thing that we're going to highlight, which is obviously this comment here. It's a stat. Chelsea have exited both domestic cup competitions at the first stage for the first time in 34 years. Not a great record. But we are in the mud. And we both accumulating points. Forget everything else right now. Premier League points. Yeah, we're still in the Champions League, but you know, we may be all right from that because of the timing of it. And obviously having Reece James, Fofana back, Ben Chilwell's running again. So, you know, we may have more players back then. And once we get them players back, granted, we'll probably see better performances. But at the moment, we are in the mud. And it's not looking good. And on part of it, I feel a bit sorry for him. Don't get me wrong, I do. I do feel a bit sorry for Graham Potter with what all that's going on and what he's having to deal with. And I do think he deserves to still be given time at Chelsea, because it's too early to decide on where he should, you know, whether he's good or not, in my opinion. But equally, he needs to find a solution, and maybe playing youngsters who are going to play for the badge, you know, play for the badge and show some heart, maybe is the choice. And play what you want to play in terms of system. Now, let's just quickly review some of Graham Potter's comments, and then we're going to start talking about these players. Graham Potter says, I understand the frustration from fans, disappointment and the anger because the results haven't been what we want. We want to improve our league positions, so I completely understand the frustration. So there's something that goes on there. There's a thread and there's a video. So, you know, he knows and recognises the situation at the moment. We're not in a great moment ourselves, and even though it was cagey the first 20 minutes, we couldn't attack at the back line well enough or attack as well as we'd like. We that had to chase the ball against Man City the first half was painful and tough for us all. Chase or just walk? Because what I saw, Potter, was us just dossing around, walking around in our own time, no effort, lack of hunger. You know, it was painful for us to watch our players jog around for the 90 minutes and not at least try. We looked better in the second half because he brought Sakari on and he changed it a little bit, but equally it still wasn't great. Graham Potter still thinks he has the dressing room support and says he was happy with the attitude of senior players yesterday. I'm not getting any sense of people with poor attitude. Everyone wants to try and do better. We are going through a bad moment. So his answer to that is, they're not against me. It may look like it, but they're not. And that he was happy with the attitude of senior players. What was, I don't get that. What was the attitude of the senior players? What of how shit they played? What's going on here? Apparently someone's destroying. What's going on here? One second. Is there any mods in the chat? I think Tony's there. I've done something, but I don't know where. Oh, there we go. 1 second. Let me mod some people. 2 seconds, because there's some idiots in the chat as usual. All right, I've added Chelsea OG as a moderator. I've added who else is there? So Chelsea OG, you're a mod. Couch, you're there. You can sort it out as well. Sorry, guys. Right, mods. Let's get Go AM. He's a mod as well. Let's add Go AM as a mod. Let's add Gary as a mod. Here you go. We've got 3-4 mods in there now. So, guys, just deal with this and people like this as well. Just get rid of them. There we go. Sorry, guys. Just the chat was going a bit crazy out there. Big up to Couch. It's all right, Couch. No worries, mate. I've made a couple people mods in the chat just to deal with that because this idiot's just spamming away. Yeah, Big Ron, actually. Let me do you as well. Big Ron. Right. Mods. All right. So Big Ron, Chelsea OG, Go AM, and someone else. I can't remember where else I picked. Someone else is our mods now. So just deal with that. Okay, cool. So yeah, look, everyone wants to try to do better. We're going through a bad moment. Yeah, we are going through a bad moment. But you're saying that the attitude of the senior players was good yesterday. I'm assuming it was on the back of them actually understanding how poo they were. And I'm talking about Jorginho, Kovacic, Koulibaly. Who else is on the pitch? That's senior that I can think of. But anyway, fine. They're at his side, but they need to start playing like they're at his side because at the moment, I can't accept the performances that we saw yesterday. They were just not nowhere near of the level. Now, how did Chelsea set up? That was the big question because, as I said earlier, I don't think we set up very well. Right? He threw a couple of youngsters on. He gave Humphreys his debut. Chalobah played as right back, etc. Jorginho, Kovacic was in the midfield. Ziyech, Gallagher and Mount were the three with Havertz. And the question was, how were we lining up? What was the idea and how was we setting up? Well, you're going to see a picture of Harry now and his head pop up. But yeah, I've used it because I can actually see the lineup that he's done up in here. So the answer to that, Harry, obviously he put Chalobah centre back. He wasn't. He was right back. So Humphreys was centre back with Chalobah on the right. Jorginho and Kovacic were a two. And what I would say is that from the midfield and the way we were set up, because we were so open on the where Lewis Hall was, it looked more of a diamond. So look at Ziyech as well. And then, sorry, it would have been Kovacic, Jorginho, Gallagher and Mount with Ziyech and Havertz as a two up front, which I think is an awful two to have played up front in the first place. So he went for like a diamond midfield, which I don't know. I don't think was a good idea. You know, I think it was more of a 10 couch. I think he was played more as a 10. I'm convinced Pokadoka is Potter's assistant coach. Humphreys was so random. Yeah, you know, we're going to talk about players a bit, but my point was he set us up wrong. The instructions of playing the diamond didn't work because no one was on the left. Gallagher ran around a lot, but equally didn't offer much. Mason Mount was non-existent in the game. Havertz, given a penalty away and playing up front on his own, hardly got involved and showed effort. Jorginho, I didn't even know was on the pitch. Kovacic had his worst game that I've seen in a long time. You know, and then on top of that, the defence. You got Chalobah playing right back for the first time. Koulibaly, the most experienced with Humphreys and Hall on each side. Didn't look great. You know, he struggled. And equally, the whole balance was everywhere. It just did not work. Gallagher, man, unbelievable. Send him to Palace for 30 million. But we're going to talk about players as well. So later on in the show, we're going to do ratings. And then I've got this thing which talks about players that are going to stay, players to go. Someone's given their thoughts and opinions on who they think and whatever. And we're going to do that. We're going to go through that together as in the group as well. So over 300 of you guys here at the moment. I know we haven't got enough likes, so please smash them likes now. Let's get these likes up, please. Over 200 people on Chelsea Fan TV right now, but only 50 likes, guys. So let's get out to 100. If you've not hit that thumb, do it now. And subscribe to both Chelsea Fan TV and GNA TV. GNA TV, nearly 100 of you guys there, but only 37 likes. Come on, guys. If you've not hit that thumb, please do so. Please subscribe as well. We are going to open up the lines shortly and give you guys the opportunity to come in and have your say as always. But yeah, nearly 300 of you here combined. So coming in. Right, let's quickly do a rating and then we're going to get into, because 27 minutes in, I want to get this rating out of the way, talk about these players. And then we're going to go on to something else to do with the players, a little bit of transfer news, and then we're going to open up them lines. Open up them lines. So what do we want to say about Kepa? Because as much as he has had his good little moments, he still held 4. One of them I think he could have saved as a penalty. And the others, all right, equally, you don't have to blame him for. Just a part of the issue as most of others. Big up to Chelsea SW 6.5, who says he's not proven when he's a total pump based on possibility of workout. I never wanted him, and we should have never got rid of Tuchel. So he doesn't want. Before we got on these players, what I would say, Tony, on this is that the difference between Tuchel and Potter, and I agree with, is that with Thomas Tuchel, he had these players, but he managed to find a way to get the best out of them. On top of that, he also had a Champions League to flash and show off in that short period of time. Now, why I don't think we should have sacked Thomas Tuchel was because of that, and because he already showed that with these players, he could make something work. You know, even in games where we were only winning 1-0, we still got a point. You know, we never lost 4 games in a row or 5 games in a row like we're doing with Potter. He equally showed us that he deserves to be backed. He deserves to be back because it's idiots in the timeline, man. I did my din. He deserves to be backed because of what he did and how he did it. But in terms of what Potter's done, and it's still very early doors, and he's still in the Champions League and whatever, he's not doing that. You know, and you can have the fans on side, and fans will back you and give you time because you deserve it, like Tuchel did. But you've got to, you know, eventually you've got to start, you know, showing the fans what you're trying to do and get results. So, yeah, Jorginho, Aubameyang, Pulisic. All right, so let's go on to is that on Chelsea Fan TV? Is he doing that on Chelsea Fan TV? No, this guy. No, he's not. All right, sorry. So got some silly guys in the chat. All right, so Kepa, I'll be honest with you. I'll give him a 3, 4. He conceded 4 goals still in the day. He could have saved 1 penalty. He's not a number 1. He will never be a number one at Chelsea. He's just not good enough to be a number one. End of. I don't have anything else to say about it. We need a goalie on top of all the other things that we need, in my opinion. So Kepa for me was a 3 or a 4. Trevor Chalobah, I'm going to give him a 3. I've wanted him to play there, and equally he didn't have the greatest of games. However, I don't think he had the worst of games. So 3, you know, in terms of being played in that position for the first time against Man City as your first game, and the team playing as shit as it didn't help. So, you know, the argument is you put Azpilicueta there. Is it a lot better? I don't know. I don't think so. So, you know, Trevor Chalobah, I think's hardly done by for being dropped in the first place. I think he should be in the team. I don't think there's any reason why he shouldn't be playing from the way he has been playing. And to be forced to play at right back or play as right back and you know, be out of position and have a little bit of a stinker, I'm not going to hold it against him too much. So it is what it is for Trevor Chalobah. 3 for him. I don't think we've got Humphreys on there, have we? No. Oh, yeah, we have, yeah. We have. So Bashir Humphreys, young lad. A lot of people saying he's not ready for the first team. But if he's not ready, why did he play? You had Badishile on the bench. You know, you could have played Chalobah there. You could have done something else, Potter. But he gave this guy the opportunity. The positives, good with both feet. Comfortable both feet. Actually wasn't scared and tried. Negatives, he got caught a couple times. There was no talking to him. He was kind of left in the dark again in positioning. Got caught behind. Second half, played on the left of a 3. Looked comfortable there. Actually looked a bit better. Hard to judge him. Give him a 3. The young lad, again, in a team with no bottle, no leaders, nothing. So it's hard to judge him on his first performance for Chelsea. So, yeah. We then go on to Koulibaly. Now, he gave a penalty away, reckless with some of his passing. Expected him to be more of a leader. Played very well with Thiago Silva the first time round. 2. I give him a 2. Maybe a 1, just because he gave the penalty away. Equally, my frustrations are not too much on the defence, because the protection in front of him was non-existent. It was awful. It was so bad. There was nothing there. Every time City went forward, these boys were left to try and defend against it. It just I don't know. There was just no support from anyone else in front of them. 2, 1, yeah, I won't even argue it. 1, 2. We lost 4-0. Just imagine if he come on, it could have been 5 or 6. Who's he talking about? Yeah. Okay, cool. So that's that. That's what I'm saying. I'm flying through these because I want to get on to the next bit. Lewis Hall. Where is Lewis Hall? Lewis Hall. Is he here? He should be here. If he's there, he should be here. Why Lewis Hall? There he is. Lewis Hall, even though he ain't got a picture yet, I don't even know why. I felt was left in the mud in the way that we set up, and that's where I blame Potter, because he, even in the game, he didn't decide to change it when he could clearly see that Walker and Mahrez were skinning him on his own. And every time he wanted to try and do what he was good at, which is getting forward and using his ability to create and whatever and cover space, he couldn't do it, because not only did he have to do a Walker, but he had Mahrez behind him and no cover. So he was thrown in the mud, in my opinion. He's a 3, 2, whatever you want to give him. But equally, I'm not going to point the fingers at him. 3, probably. 4.5. He was disappointed because of the support and what we offered around him. He had nothing around him. In how we set up. It really didn't help him in whatever way. Yeah, because we had no one there, bro. It was just Lewis Hall. There was no support. There was no cover. No cover. 350 of you guys here at the moment. Big up to every single one of you guys that are here. Smash the likes. Let's get this over 100 likes. Lines to be open very soon. Get your guys' thoughts and opinions very soon as well on the game. A little bit of transfer news as well. I'm just flying through this now. Anyway, this is where it starts getting a little bit tasty, because this is always the issue, isn't it? Jorginho. What more do I need to say about Jorginho? Very less effective. Touched the ball, I think, 13 or 14 times the whole game. From someone that controls the game. And when he did get the ball, he went sideways and again just does what he usually does, which is just recycle it and do fuck all. Not a leader, shouldn't be a captain, not good enough. And I keep saying shouldn't be starting games. And Enzo Fernandes at 100 million is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. But equally, you saw it when Zakaria came on, where the midfield looked equally half decent with Zakaria in, who's actually taking his chances of recent. But you see the quality difference. The quality difference of someone that's physical, that moves the ball quicker, that's a bit of a presence and has a bit of pace. This guy has none of it. He just does little ticky-tacky passes and, kicks the ball out for a corner. Like he did in the first half. Passed it, did for a corner. I don't even know where he was trying to pass, to be honest. He was always looking backwards because it was so deep. Not good enough. Zero. Exactly. There is no point of Jorginho on the pitch if we're not going to hold the ball or even if we do hold the ball. It's like you need to be effective with it and you can't if you're so deep. He's just not good enough, man. He's just not good enough. But equally, as bad as he was, so was Mateo Kovacic. He had an awful game. If his instructions were to cover the left, he failed it. If he's, what he is good at taking the ball and driving forward, he didn't do well. He lost the ball when he tried to go forward once. Took too many touches rather than releasing it when the full actual forward line had made some runs. Between him and Jorginho, they're the most experienced, one of our most experienced in the Chelsea shirt. Let us down. No protection in midfield and equally no protection to the defence. They were non-existent. And not good enough from Kovacic. From the quality of what he is. And he needs to be better. He was good against Man City the first time round, next to Zakaria. But equally with Jorginho, it's just, I don't know. It don't work. It just didn't work. He gets a 0 for me as well. He was just not good enough. Just not good enough. And then it gets a little bit more tasty. So let's talk about the Roadrunner Conor Gallagher. Because, yeah, he tries and he gets round and he tries. But I am really starting to struggle when watching him and understand what the team benefits from him being in the team. Because I don't think we benefit anything from him other than he runs around and, that's it. Even when he has the ball, he's wasteful. Doesn't look up. Doesn't release the ball quick enough. And all he keeps confirming to me is that maybe this Chelsea shirt is just too big for him. Maybe it's just not the right time. It just didn't work. And having him and Mount on the pitch just didn't work. It just did not work. I don't know. I'm struggling to feel or think that he's actually Chelsea quality, in my opinion. I don't think he is. I really don't. And the more I'm watching him, the more I'm trying to give him the opportunity and understand what is it that we benefit from when he's in the team. I don't see anything. Roadrunner, whatever you want to call him, just a roadrunner. Well, I know it sounds horrible and harsh, but it just didn't work. Maybe he needs to go back to a Palace or whatever, where he had decent spells and play with them. Maybe that's the level. I don't think this is the level. Big up to JP. Nice to see you, man. Nice to see you as well. Go ahead, man. Allow it. Oh, go ahead. Right, we've got 250 people on Chelsea Fan TV. Nice to see you guys here. 120 people on GNA TV. Again, we still ain't got enough likes. We've not even got over 100 likes on both yet. So please, guys, hit the likes. How many times I've got to say this? I hate having to tell you. Please hit the likes on both channels. Let's get this as close as we can to 100. Lines are going to be open soon. And we move from Conor Gallagher to Mason Mount. Mason Mount. He wasn't good. Equally, we look at him again as one of the players that needs to step up when we're in the shit. And he didn't. And he was non-existent. And it didn't work. And it didn't work because of so many multiple things, including himself. How deep we was, how we couldn't get out, And when we did get out the press from Man City, the difference between the quality of teams is that when we have the ball, the press is like they're strangling you, suffocating you, don't give you time. And then when they have the ball, the press from Chelsea is just jog. Yeah, we jog. You know, don't press as a team. The understanding of going together and trying to win the ball back quickly. Nothing. Just jogging around. Even he couldn't even get involved. Even he isn't going anywhere. So these people that are crying for Mason Mount to leave Chelsea Football Club need to change that mindset because it's not happening. He's not leaving Chelsea. Now, what I will say with Mason Mount is that I don't think he is having a good season at Chelsea. Equally, the argument would be who has had a very good season for Chelsea. And, you know, it rubs off on people. When you look at the core and how we have been playing of recent, it is very hard to play in a team that lacks that much confidence, that lacks that much of everything. And he's suffering from it as well. And he's suffering it through his own performances. And he's suffering it from the overall balance, the system, and everyone around him. They're all feeding off each other like leeches. All this lack of mentality, bottling. And equally, I keep saying this about Mason Mount, and I'll say it one more time. And this is where I'll stick with it. He ain't going anywhere. Yeah? You may think he's good. You may not think he's good. But the truth is, we should be getting better as a squad in the future. We should start seeing players coming in, and this team should be getting better. Once that team gets better, then it's going to be down to him to force himself into these teams, to show us that he is that player, that he can play better once the system's sorted, that he can play better once there's better players around him, and that he can get in the team. That's the questions with him. Forgetting his contract and wages and whatever, because I don't mind Mason Mount because he wants to be here. Yeah, he wants to play for Chelsea. I don't like players that don't want to play for Chelsea and still play. I don't think they should play. Yeah, he's not been good, and that's not the argument here. It's not about how he's playing now. Equally, it's about what are we going to do with Mason Mount moving forward, you know, and how he performs once this team improves, once we have better squad depth, once hopefully we have better players, once we actually just look better. Will his game rise again? Will he look good again in a system that's working and more consistent? These are the things we have to wait for. It's not about wanting trash players, Ray. You know, you want thinking he's trash is the same as someone else thinking he's great. My thing is, I don't think he's great and I don't think he's trash. I just think he should be given time. While we sort out this mess that we are currently in. And he's going to be it. So just wait and see. So we've got here. I'm a Potter fan, but are you able to find what Potter is trying with team selection or pattern of play, or what kind of style he wants to implement and why he's not? So the only thing I would say to that is, I think the only thing he's trying to do more than what he didn't do the first time around is that he's playing this back four. So he's committing to, like, I want to play this. This is what I want to do. So it's not the injuries, because having some of these players back playing in the system that he wants to play, maybe we would see the best of the system. Not the best, but a better way of it. You know, and you think, oh, I can see what he's trying to do. Part of the issue is I think some of these players are just not good enough to be at Chelsea. And I don't think they deserve to be at Chelsea. And I think equally he's having forced to be playing players in positions, probably half-heartedly knowing that they're not going to be able to play it to the level that he wants to play it. But he has to play them because, in theory, and that sounds stupid, you don't really have much choice at the moment, other than you play some youngsters. But even if you equally play the youngsters, you're probably still not going to get the same, level of performance that you want from the system that you're doing. So he's stuck in between a hard rock at the moment. I think he just needs to implement and do what he needs to do, and we do need to see it. But it's so hard to see what someone wants to do if equally you haven't got the tools. And that's why I said to you, pot a ball and seeing pot a ball isn't going to happen. But the one thing that I do request to see is hard working hard off the ball, trying to make things happen, even if you're losing, and not to give up. And these are equally the things that I want to see from Chelsea. Right. Quickly on to just quickly fly through this because I am not wasting my breath on some of these players because I'm done with them. Where's he gone? Are they deleted him? There he is. Not good enough. Get out of my club. Waste of money. Doesn't want to be here. Walks around half-heartedly. Whatever people think he's very good at doing and should be playing more, he doesn't do enough of. He's just not good. And I've not liked him for a long time. And people may not like Kai Havertz or Mason Mount and whatever. Yeah. But this guy, for me, is just, no. Even since we signed him. All right, he's been unlucky with injuries. And he's had a couple of good mini games. But he just doesn't suit the Premier League. Doesn't suit what we're trying to do. Doesn't look like he wants to be here. And that's my biggest issue. I don't think he wants to be here. So why play players that don't want to be here? Play players that do want to be here that are going to try. Potter, I'm talking to you. That's what I'm talking about. Potter. I'm talking to you, Potter. Stop playing players that don't want to be here and fuck them off. And he needs to fuck off. Because I'm just getting annoyed with it. Frustrated with him. Just useless. But he isn't. And again, that goes to preference, doesn't it? Again, you know, this is what annoys me. People go, he's better than Havertz, he's better than Mount. Yeah. Whatever. Again, that's just your opinion. It doesn't mean you're right. Boring. Not good enough. Gave a penalty away, which I don't think was intentional. I don't think he meant to slap it. Like Koulibaly, when you know, but yeah, poor. Shouldn't have done it. Not a number 9. I've told you he's a number 10. I'll stick to that. Didn't have a good game. Disappeared. Found it hard to even get up the pitch. Couldn't hold the ball up. Lost the ball a couple of times. Equally looks dejected. And pretty much the way the whole squad looks at the moment. Like they can't be asked. Which pisses me off. And even he pissed me off a bit. For just not trying. Because even when he was under Thomas Tuchel and he wasn't scoring goals, and people still were a bit thinking of him, at least we could, the argument wasn't, well, he doesn't put his body around and he makes things hard and he links play and he actually benefits what Tuchel's trying to do. Because that's what I saw with Kai Havertz. But Potter trusts him and he plays him. All right, maybe false because Aubameyang was injured and Bro was injured. Maybe. But I don't know with Kai Havertz. I don't know where his mindset is. I don't know if he's looking at this and going, do you know what? I'm not fitting what's going on here. I can't get the best out of myself. And if that's the case, and he does decide to pack up his boots and leave in the summer, and he goes, which he will get value for him, I'll guarantee you, he'll go somewhere else, probably to a better club in terms of the way they're set up, system-wise. I think it will probably work for him, but he needs to be playing in a system that is there with better players in his setup. Probably like most, really, to be honest, in our forward line. It's just, will he hang around? And I don't think he will, because at the moment, I think a lot of targeting on our performances goes to him because of his price tag. Oh, what does he do? You know, take him off the pitch. Who goes on next? Who goes on? Who do we put on? Who then does better than what he's doing? That's my argument with Kai Havertz. But equally, he was shit. So, again, I keep saying this to people. Don't defend him. I'm not defending him now because he was shit. And I have to say this about 400 times because people don't listen. They just take little bits of what they want. And it's not everyone, because most of you know me, but it's equally some people in the chat that just try and paint you to be something. And I've always been one thing, Chelsea Football Club. And that's the way it is for me. Anyway. Matt, you can't talk, mate. You're in the mud because your own player, Kepa, is just not good enough as himself as well, right? He's not a number 1. He will never be a number 1. And it is what it is. We need someone to come in as well in that position. So, yeah, look, I'm not going to talk to you. I thought Zakaria played well when he come on, 5. I think he's our best midfielder from the last 2 games. I think Zakaria should be starting games. Equally, he's impressed me with his attitude, his strength, his passing ability, his progressiveness. He should be playing. Dennis Zakaria should be playing. Who else played? Datro Fofana. Not even going to rate him because he got thrown in a shit situation. But equally, held the ball quite well. Threw Cancelo on the floor, quite strong. Didn't create anything for him though. You know, too early to even talk about him. But, you know, Carney come on. Maybe he should have started the game. Would have gave Lewis all better support down the left in the first half. I want to see Carney play on Thursday. End of. Who else come on? Amari Hutchinson. Still not sure on him. Think it's a bit early, too early for him when I look at him and compare him to others. Don't think he's ready yet. But equally, when you look at the shit that we've got up front, maybe we should just show a bit of confidence in him and just play him. So what have we got to lose right now? Because I'd rather not see Ziyech. I'd rather not see Conor Gallagher on that side. I'd rather just see him play off the right. You know, Pulisic's out for a couple of weeks. Great. Guys, I'm going to open up the chat soon anyway. So declared, Matt, come on. Couch, come on. CFC OG, Chelsea OG, come on. Get you on in a second. Nearly 400 people here right now. Big up to every single one of you that are tuned in at the moment. Get these likes up. Let's quickly look at this quickly. Real quick one. So this is a list that someone done on Twitter. Big up to VDYK. My honest opinions on this Chelsea team. And what it basically shows is his opinion and his long-term outlook on them. So whether we keep him or not. So we'll go through his opinion and I'll say, yeah, I agree with him or no, I don't. And I want you guys to get involved as well. So he's put in for Kepa. This is how he started. Bailed us out recently, but still find it very hard to trust it will continue. And then he goes to long-term outlook. Could stay as backup or leave, not fussed. So the way he feels about him is exactly the way I feel about him. Yeah, he had a good little blip, but is he the number one that can be continuous and show longevity? No, I don't think he is. Could he stay as backup as a number two? Yeah, I wouldn't mind him being the number two, but then Mendy would have to go and we'd have to buy someone in. Or he's not fussed. So yeah, it is what it is. But then it goes on to Mendy. One of the biggest falls from grace I've seen at the club. Should be our number one. Could stay as backup or leave, not fussed. So for both of them, either or one of them will go. One of them will stay. I don't know. Mendy, I don't get it with Mendy. I actually thought the only thing I would say with Mendy compared to Kepa is that at least we've seen that level, quality level. I've not seen that level from Kepa. From what we've seen the Mendy, especially Tuchel, because he's engaged. Like, let's not forget how good Mendy was at Chelsea. It's just, will he find that again? I'm not too sure. So equally, we'll have to wait and see. Equally, we have to wait and see who stays, who goes, but we need someone in. Azpilicueta, brilliant servant, but is a disgrace of a captain, but years ahead him, needs to move on. Years are ahead of him that needs to move on next season. So I'll change the word disgrace because I don't think he ever plays to be a disgrace. I think Azpilicueta is a legend at Chelsea Football Club. However, the decline is real with Azpilicueta and he shouldn't be here. Most likely gone after the season, it says. Well, he's got a 2-year extension. I think we should sell him in the summer. He has to go. Just let him go and improve that right back area. If we're playing the back four and we're going to stick to the back four, I want to see that improved. And that goes back to the other thing that has annoyed me a little bit with this all. We're in a January transfer window. We're continuously buying youngsters who are being forced to play games yesterday. But what Todd Bowley and Igbali need to do, and if they can do in this window instead of wasting it, is actually give Potter some ammunition, some strength, and tackle some players, some positions, and get players in to strengthen him and help him now. Do the now. Maybe stop buying all these youngsters for a second and look at what the fucking problems is that we have at the moment, like right back, midfield, forward line. Like try and add 1 or 2 or 3 if he can get it done and if they're available, because it seems like there is some good deals out there to be had. And we're being told by Fabrizio Romano that Chelsea at the moment are trying to do many deals. He hasn't said what deals, but he just said Chelsea are trying to do many deals at the moment. So I want to see these owners backing the manager now and giving him what he needs. And one of them there is his right back. Reece James, I ain't even going to talk about. Probably one of our best players or best player when he's there. The difference with him on the pitch and off the pitch is horrendous, really. The fact that we rely on the right back that much is a problem for me. He's a right back. We rely on him that much to balance the team. Is an issue in itself. Yeah, keep him as long as he can. My only worry with Reece James is his injuries. Can we keep him fit? Can his reoccurring injuries fuck off? Because we need him. Basically. Yes, here to stay. Aspie to go. Mendy or Kepa to go. Thiago Silva, for me, is just the glue. I keep saying it. He always will be. And nearly 40 years old, he's our best player on the pitch when Reece James is injured as well, obviously. He's our best player on the pitch most games. And he's 40. He's nearly 40 and he's better than half of the players. So we've got 3 quarters to such a level that he can just looks like he can keep going. So if he can keep going, keep giving him a year. Because we need him at this moment in time. We need him. I ideally want him to stay and retire here. Could help play for Cole. Yeah, if Cole was going to come back at a later stage, maybe. But Silva's just so important. Fofana, we've already just recently bought him. Hardly seen much of him. Love him, unreal player. Gutted on his injuries, excited for his return. Has a long-term contract and certainly, yeah. So he ain't going anywhere. He's one of the new ones that we bought. My issue with Fofana when buying him for 80 odd million was this: how much are we going to get out of him? And that worries me. And that was one of the biggest things. That's why I went against a lot of people when they asked me, and everyone said, "No, he's great. He's this much. Yeah, he's class. He's this." Yeah, I'm not talking about the quality. I'm more worried about the player and the injuries that he's picking up. You know, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Guys, 450 of you guys here. Smash the likes as always. Subscribe to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV. I know we haven't got enough likes at the moment, so let's get these likes up. 300 people on Chelsea Fan TV at the moment. Big up to every single one of you guys as well. Chalobah is one of his favourite players, gives it his all, and someone Chelsea can often... Listen, Chalobah shouldn't even be dropped, in my opinion. He should be playing. He's a Chelsea player. We dare not sell him. I know we've got Badiashile and whatever, and Silva might leave, but he needs to be a part of this team, in my opinion. Versatile player who can always depend on, keep at all costs. We should never be thinking about it. Even the fact that we were thinking about Chalobah leaving in the summer was ridiculous. He stays. We need him. And he's one of our most consistent performers from someone who's only just been in the Chelsea team in his second year and literally come out of nowhere in his first under Thomas Tuchel. Why have we not got one for... Has he not got one for... He's got that one. Then he's got that. But what about the forwards? I thought he had one for the forwards. But anyway, we move. One of the worst players we've ever had. It's a disgrace. He wearing Terry's not. I don't think Koulibaly's as bad as people keep saying. I think he's going to be given time. I think it's too early to call. He's saying terminate his contract. I disagree. I think he needs again more time once we sort the system out. You know. And he's not even had a year in the Premier League as well. Koulibaly's here to stay at the moment. We wait and see whether or not he's good enough or not. But it's very hard to judge him on what we've seen so far when you look at how bad the team's been, in my opinion. So I would give Koulibaly at least easily another season. He's got a 3-year contract anyway. Kukureya's been poor, but still have a lot of faith in him. He's been poor, but the same as he had very good games. I think he's useful. I think he was overpriced, but he's staying, and he's one of the ones that we bought in, and hopefully we'll just improve as we go on and later. So Kukureya is here to stay. Chilwell wants to stay, but worries me because he's injury prone. Should he go? No, I don't think he should, but at the same time, he worries me with his injuries. Are we going to get the most out of him? Could be an issue. We'll have to wait and see, but he will stay. Jorginho, the Chelsea virus. Sell the chance you get. Would only renew his contract. Listen, I've said this about Jorginho. He should never be starting games. If he wants to go back to Napoli or Italy, let him go. If he doesn't, I mean, then Kante has to go because I'm not having both of them here. So if Kante is staying and we are giving him that improved contract, then Jorginho, see you later. So one or the other for me. Kante, best midfielder in the world when fit. It's a shame with his constant injuries. Give him one more run to see if his fitness improves. So, you know, this is down to preference now. You know, is this medical test that he had, or sorry, if this operation that Kante had going to bring him back to the longevity, hopefully, fingers crossed, because when he is on the pitch, his team's better. There's no doubt about it. It's Kante, man. You know, we need that Kante back, but yeah, we'll see. I'd still pick Kante over Jorginho every day. Ruben Loftus-Cheek needs to apply for Love Island. We would only keep to... Listen, with Ruben, it's weird. It depends on how much we improve in that position, because I think he's okay for versatility options. I don't think he should be starting every game, but as an option, yeah, you know, I think he should be there. I think he should be there, you know. So Kovacic is a real gem on me. Wonderful player to watch. He suffers from injuries and playing with injuries, but at the same time, can be very inconsistent as well. I'd keep him. He may want to leave, who knows yet, but I'd keep him and then improve, bring in a Rice and whoever else and keep Kovacic, have Kante as well, and maybe rotate Kante in and off the midfield. That's what I would do. Has he not got anyone? Where's the other part? Am I missing something here? Yeah, I thought he had another part to it, but he obviously don't. Unless I'm missing something too. Oh, there we go. Okay. There we go. Found them. So this is where it gets interesting. Conor Gallagher. Love that he understands what it means to play for Chelsea, but his ability is not good enough. What does he mean by that? He understands what it means to play for Chelsea. No, just isn't good enough. He hasn't been good enough, and I still don't know what he offers. Listen, if we get 35, 40 million from him, I'd sell him, because I think we can get better than Conor Gallagher from what I've seen at this moment in time. And it's a shame, because I looked at him and thought, yeah, I don't think he's ready for the Chelsea. Really don't. Hakim Ziyech, go. See you later. Rubbish. I ain't got time for it. Average. Not good enough. Doesn't suit the Premier League. Can't be asked. He's gone for me. I think he agrees with me on that. Christian Pulisic has the ability to be great, but the mindset, not the mindset. Yeah, I think with Pulisic, it's like injuries. All right, he's not had them in a while. But then it's like being consistent with his performances. And it was a shame, because he was starting to get played more frequently off the left, and I wanted to see him grow in that. And with Pulisic, it's always like if and buts. It's always like, yeah, but if he could just get given that if, and we might see that Pulisic. So again, with Pulisic, I'll be honest with you, I'd actually like him to stay, but at the same time, if he doesn't want to be here in the summer when he wants to move on, I'd let him go. So that's the way I see it with Christian Pulisic. He ain't going anywhere, Mason Mount, but needs to be relearn what it means to play for Chelsea. Been here for 6 years old. He has been here for 6 years old. He needs to see, I mean, with the wages, because they don't deserve the 300k a week, needs to step up in the locker room. He does. He needs to do all of that. At the same time, equally, we need to improve what's around him as well. He can't be the guy that we look at as Eden Hazard. He's not that. Sometimes I think people think he's that, but he's not that. I don't know why we've become so heavily reliant on him. You know, but equally, we need to see more of him. And he needs to turn up, and he needs to step up, and he needs to play for the shirt. Yeah, of course. I agree. Need to see better from him. And I think he knows that himself. So we'll see. Kai Havertz plays football like his higher coach. Most disappointing signing we've ever had. His time has gone. Thanks for Paul, but let's time to go. So with Kai Havertz, I've just said it. Play him in a 10 and play him in a system. Play him around better players. I think you'd see the more consistent Kai Havertz. Play him as a 9, which he's not, and ask him to hold the ball and do this, that, and the other. I don't think is his game, in my opinion. We'd rather sell him, he goes, or he stays. I don't know. You know, again, if he stayed, I wouldn't be like shocked about it. If he went, again, I wouldn't be shocked about it. I'm just 50-50 with the whole thing with Kai Havertz. But equally, he needs to improve, 100%. Raheem Sterling's going to stay for the long run. Equally, he needs to improve, and we need to see more from him. We haven't seen enough from him. He needs to show more to Chelsea. You know, but again, equally, I told everyone the same thing. Bringing Sterling in doesn't mean that that's it. It's done. It's enough. We've done it. We need more. We definitely need more. So, yeah, you know, Sterling's good. He's here for the long run, and I think he's useful. But we need to have better around him. And again, that's going to come with time. But these owners need to start fucking looking for players, you know, especially in the forward lines. Brower, Yeah, he got injured. It's sad, really. Whatever. I get that. He'll be back in the summer. He will be a part of the team. Keep him. Ben Kunku and him. Keep him. Done. He should be staying. Aubameyang, get lost. Leave him. Get him out. Send him back to Barcelona. Whoever wants him. Don't want Aubameyang. People, I don't care about, if we created more from here. No. He's not good enough. He don't care. He's useless when he is on the pitch. He it just does not work. And this is why I sat on the fence with him. I said, you know what? I'll give him a chance when he first came. I never really gave my full thoughts on him. But he just don't care. He doesn't care. And we need better there. And we've got better coming in Nkunku. So get rid of him. Get Nkunku in. Keep Brower. Have Sterling. Maybe keep Pulisic. And then look at bringing in someone else. A Leao. Whoever that is on the list. Bring someone in with that and improve it. So yeah, there's a lot of that should go. Let's just put it that way. There's a lot that should go in this Chelsea team. Listen, over 460 of you guys here. Big up to every single one of you guys. Get the likes up. We are going to open up the lines now. I'm going to put the link in the chat. Get you guys in to have your save for the next hour or so. There we go. Big up to DJ Savjay in the house. What a shit evening yesterday. Too many players never turned up. The whole team. Yeah, Zakari had a good game. I agree. Yeah, bro. But big up to you. Lines are now open. Get yourselves involved. While we're waiting for people to come in quickly, let me just quickly also just quickly highlight you on some say breaking news, just some news in and around Chelsea. Simon Phillips says that Marcus Thuram has become high on the list of the options. Chelsea have reached out to his agent and club with initial inquiry. Chelsea like his physicality and frame, believe he would be a good fit in the Premier League. Brighton were keen on him last year. It's looking more and more likely that it's going to happen. Thuram is a player that his contract's expiring. He's looking around 10 to 15 million. It may not work. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, but it's a low risk, isn't it? When you think about how much we're paying for it, and when you look at what we already have at the moment, the issue with him is we're bringing him in. Is he going to suit what we're trying to do? That's going to be down to the owners and everyone else to, to work that one out as of that as well. And also, just to finish up before we go on to the fellas that have come in as well from that, the other bit of news from Fabrizio Romano is that Arsene, he said here that Chelsea is still interested in signing Arsene Zakarian. He's one of the talents they are following. But Chelsea are also working on many deals, so the time cannot always be fast. That's absolutely normal. The player would love Zakarian to come into Chelsea at some point, but at the same time, we're doing supposedly looking to do so many other deals. Well, it's the 9th of January. It's supposed to be in that case, but let's see what happens more with that in regards to transfers, and we'll do a transfer show on that basis. Couch Critic, how you doing? Couch?
Yo, sorry, there's just choppy from me. My bad. What are you saying?
Hey, everyone.
You recovered from yesterday?
Dude, I've been apathetic for months now, man. It's all good, man. We just gotta, you said it already, man. We just gotta calm down, stop blaming all the players, understand the situation we're in, and just build from there. It's not, we've all seen the best of Chelsea the last 10, 15, 20 years. We've seen us reach heights that are unimaginable before. And now we're in a bit of a mire. We have a lot of injuries. We just got to take our time and slowly build back to the top. It's going to take some time. And I have the stomach for it. I am not in any way Graham Potter out, although I do believe that a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing on the pitch right now is down to him not really having an understanding of what he has in the team yet. That could come down to one of two things, obviously the injuries, or the fact that he joined the club right in the middle of the season. Not easy to make those types of assessments on the go, on the fly, when you're playing a match every 3 days, right? So, give it some time. I know it's going to be painful, but I'm in it for the long haul.
I think one of the issues also is the fact that it's just, for me, Couch, I don't know about you, but I think what annoys me more is the way that we're playing. It's like the lack of effort, the lack of trying, the lack of, sometimes when you're losing and you're down and out, you just expect you expect more in terms of the players running and making the effort. And I just didn't see that yesterday. It's like when we had the ball, City strangled us. When they had the ball, we just allowed them to have
We couldn't
the
get
ball.
near them. We couldn't get near them.
Yeah.
Even if you wanted to press, we couldn't get near them because they moved the ball so efficiently and quick. And that was the first thing. And that's not new. This is not something that's new under Graham Potter. When people say that the players aren't playing for him, we saw the exact same thing under Tuchel. We couldn't get near these guys. Like the way I look at it, the only way we press effectively is when Conte's on the pitch because he's the one that springs
the team. You press as a team as well. You go together.
Absolutely. But who's springing the trap though? It's usually Conte that's winning the ball back, right?
No, but usually it's the forward. A Mount or someone like Havertz or Mount would press higher, wouldn't they? And then everyone would go with. And you're right. Then Kante would move forward and Kovacic would join him. And do you know what I mean? Like we don't have that.
We just don't have. I would agree with you. You have to move as a unit and whatnot, and press as a collective. But even when you do that, all you're doing is when you don't have a player that can spring the traps like Conte. All you're doing is opening yourself up to be played through because Man City, especially against a team like Man City, who move the ball so efficiently and quickly. So when you're trying to chase after the ball, you're opening up all sorts of gaps, and they play right through you like a hot knife through butter.
They do. But at the same time, I've seen us even under Tuchel where we press as a team, and we've kind of had a bit of joy where we've caught them heavy up the pitch, but we're kind of man marked. If that makes sense, and sort of not giving them the space, so you forced them into having to move the ball a bit quicker and not have time on the ball to just go sideways, and which is what I feel like we did yesterday. Where
it was embarrassing to watch it like that. I hear you. It was embarrassing to see it. I hear.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Let's quickly fly through everyone else. Don, is that Don?
Yes,
saying,
bro.
Mate?
Yes, bro. You're right.
Yeah, not bad, man. Not bad. What were your thoughts, mate?
I was saying this to Terry on the football terrace yesterday. Like, I just feel like the only way we're going to salvage this season is if we actually have a strong January. That is the only way. I understand Graham Potter tactically hasn't been the best in a lot of the games that we've played this season. I'm saying a lot. Let me not exaggerate. There's been a few tweaks that he could have done here and there. A few decisions that he could have made that, could have bettered the team overall. But look at the adversity he's dealing with. The guy's nearly got a full starting 11 of injured players who we need to upgrade anyway, right? And they're injured, and we're demanding players that we feel aren't good enough for Chelsea to take us to the top 4. So right now, the only way we're gonna even have any chance of potentially getting top 4, because all it takes is a few wins. Look at Man United. Look where they were start of the season. Look where they are now. They've had a sick month and a bit. And they're up there now. They're 3rd. So I'm not going to be deluded and say, we've still got a chance of top 4. Because realistically, with this squad and all the injuries, I just don't see it happening. But if we have a solid January where we just pay whatever at the moment and have to spend a little bit less maybe next season and the season after, you never know where we could end up. And right now, midfield, everyone knows the midfield is the engine of the team. Our midfield there's nothing there. So how do we expect anything when we can't even have a base to create from? So for me, I just feel like the only way we can salvage this season is if we have a solid January. If we don't, then it's just going to get worse.
What is a solid January to you?
I'll be honest, we definitely need at least one creative midfielder. Ideally, we need to get Enzo in. I think Zakaria can do a job until the end of the season, and then hopefully bring in Declan Rice. I know Arsenal have been linked to him, but realistically, do we see him going there when they've got Partey? Arsenal fans are just in their own world because they think Declan Rice is going to leave.
Mate, you're in your own world, mate. You want Enzo Fernandes and Declan Rice. That's like 300 million down the drain. Is he going to spend that money?
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is we're not going to pay the release clause for Enzo. That's not going to happen.
We're not getting him.
I don't know why you guys are talking about that. Jim should have asked you, what are we salvaging? That's what the question should have been.
We're still aiming for top 4, right? We're not going to just throw.
You just ruled it out, Don. You said you're realistic. We're not going to get top 4. You said that.
I said realistically, with this current squad and all these injuries, there's no chance of top 4. The only way we can salvage top 4, hopefully, is if we make signings. These injuries
or we get our injuries back, like players back.
Or you sell Mason Mount.
It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Like we're not gonna get the these guys all back together at the same time.
I don't think you guys looked at the ladder. We're not making top 4. Like you got to understand that, yeah. Like if you haven't accepted that by now, I'm pretty sure you're not being realistic.
Bro, you're literally saying
top 4 is dead. Top 4 is it's a done deal.
Don't think about top 4. Just think about not dropping closer to the bottom. That's what you got to think about.
Bro, I don't see us getting top 4 right now. That's what I'm saying. I don't see us getting top 4. The only way
closer to relegation than top 4. What are you telling me? Like
you're telling me right now, if we don't make some amendments, slight amendments in the midfield, right? And even we get a right back, because Azpilicueta is finished. That guy should not be at Chelsea anymore. I was so pissed off when we offered him that 2-year deal and offered him more money, right? He shouldn't be at the club anymore. We all know this, okay?
Maybe, Don, this is a better way to look at it, right?
Bro, they've neglected... Go on.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, and this will be a good way to like find out what you're trying to say as well, and what everyone's trying to say. Which players would you... Because you want a strong January, right? Which players would you want to keep for next season? You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of players that... I mean, a lot of people are saying they're writing off the whole team. We don't want the whole team, right? Which players do you want to stay?
I'm not going to go over the top and say, get rid of this guy, because I know that's not going to happen. But what we can do is build on what we already have. A lot of these players, Mason Mount, right? Mason Mount is not good enough to be starting week in, week out for Chelsea. He knows it doesn't matter how I play, he's going to start regardless. And same thing with Havertz. These guys need to have competition, and they've just got no competition. We've needed upgrades for a minute now. We haven't signed anyone permanently in the midfield since 2018. After that, we've gone and signed Saul and Zakaria, and they've both been on loan. So they've neglected that area for a long time. And I feel like a lot of the Chelsea fans at the moment are not seeing that the old regime is partly to blame in this, like, for this mess that we're currently in.
We know that. Like, I think that obviously, like, you're right in what you're saying. You are right. There's a lot of sense in what you're saying. I think that a lot of this transitional period, which people like to call it, is to do with all of what the old guard had done. And this is why I think, as a Chelsea fan, I'm talking for myself, I'm not talking for you guys, is that I've always just wanted a manager to be.
Is it just me, or is?
I thought it was me.
Lagged out.
What just happened?
Nah, still there, bro.
Yeah, you lagged out, Jim.
Yeah, I thought so. My Wi-Fi went funny. But no, part of the reason is what I'm saying is I want to see managers backed, and I want them to be given the opportunity to implement what they want to do, and that's something we've just never done at Chelsea. And I know people say, well, we just get rid of the manager. We could get rid of the manager, get someone else in, and that's the mindset we've always had because of the Roman era, and I get all that. But it comes a point where you've got to look at the mess. You've got to look at the crop. You've got to look at where we are. You've got to understand the areas that we need to sort out within the squad, and and give it time, because we are at our point of transition. That this is it. We've hit the point. This is it for me now, and this is why we're seeing what we're seeing right now. And we should be losing 4 or 5 games. That's not. He needs to win. I keep saying that there has to be a solution of where he has to get the best of what he got. Tuchel did it. He did do it for parts, but he's going to have to work that out. And it doesn't help with the 11 injuries and whatever. Don't get me wrong, but you can't have a 11 going out on the pitch and playing like they did yesterday. They can't play like that.
Unacceptable.
Yeah, that's unacceptable. If we lose games because we're running around and let's say he commits to playing the youngsters, right? Let's just say, fuck it, I'm going to play the youngsters, right? And the youngsters play really well, and we can see what he's trying to do in the system with these youngsters, and Zakaria's in the midfield and whatever, and we may lose 1-0. But, it was just because we don't have the creative element, or we don't have a finisher or something like that. At least we can sit there and go, well, do you know what? We can see what he's doing. At least he's trying. That's it. That's what we need to see now, And that's why I said drop players that don't want to play for us or are not in form and play the youngsters.
Well, that's your boy Havertz, Jim. He doesn't want to play for us.
Let me ask you guys a question. Let me ask
my boy.
At the moment,
mate, get that fucking scarf out of there, man. I don't want to see his face.
James is a fraud. Without wasting, Havertz is a fraud.
I'll say this. I was about to go sleep. Jim, I'm about to go sleep. And I hear Jem's comments about Mount.
Everyone was holding up the scarf and everything.
Hey, Matt, you shouldn't be going around saying anyone. Why did Kepa let that goal in against Man City in that? The one that it was almost a match-fixing type goal.
Hang on, I'm a match-fixing goal. Anyway,
yeah, the one that he looked at the ball, put his hands. I say that as in, the low leagues and that. They're match-fixing. What's he know?
You can come and admit If he continues his form, he has to go. But he's had
Matt,
some
I'll
great
be
run.
honest
We'll
with
see
you. I've been
what happens.
listening to some of your intakes recently, and I'll just have to ignore it because you sit.
Well,
in
yeah,
games,
unfortunately, because Jem, you follow this narrative from this absolute
because
delusional
your
clown.
answer. You can answer after. Your answer to what you think is the best for Chelsea is just getting rid of Mason Mount. That's all I hear you ever say.
Well,
you don't actually talk,
I think you're hearing the wrong
the
thing.
issues that we have at the with the squad. And
you can't ignore the injuries that we currently have. You just
I'm not ignoring it, but I can't.
I would agree about the injuries, but those players besides Reece James weren't playing well.
Jem, but
generally, even before these players were injured, yeah.
Like,
Jem, I'll tell you. I've said some Mason Mount. That's a part of the problem. For me, it's selling all these players. Get them all. I wouldn't care. For me, Potter needs to stand up and take charge. There's no charge coming from the dressing room. And I said Mason Mount is a player problem. He has player power. He's had it under Tuchel as well. No manager has stood up to him. No manager came and dropped him from a game. To take control, for me, I want to sell Mason Mount. I want to sell Kai Havertz. I want to sell all these bums because they're not proven talents. You guys have been told a lie. What has he done since he scored that fucking Champions League goal? He's an absolute nothing. He's a fraud. He needs to go.
Because you seem to give Potter a pass in that too. So you're going to trust Potter to build a whole new team as well?
No, because I'm not Potter in. I've never been Potter in. I can't be Potter out either.
So Potter has to go too. Who else has to go? Bolly made big calls, and Bolly's doing a bit of trial and error. Can he go too? If we let you go, Matt, you're basically throwing out the whole club.
No. I've said I'm willing to give Potter time. Potter needs to prove to me why he's at this club. He has to prove to me why he's going to be here. What has he done since he came in? It's an absolute nothing. It's January 10th, yeah? He can start getting rid of these players for all I care. Start taking action. There's no action being told by this manager. I'm telling. And what? We come to Fulham and we lose 3-0 again. We come to Newcastle, whatever. We lose 4-0 again. What's going to change the next game? Nothing's going to change because these same bums are still here. So for me, Graham Potter, to be approved at this club, needs to start getting rid of players.
He's been here 4 months. He's been here 4 months.
You see, like,
hang on, it's
just need to get rid of players.
This is what happens when you play football manager too much. You're just like, you just got to get rid of these players. You know how long we've been trying to get rid of Kepa? You know how long?
But now he's coming back and forth. Hang on, I'm not saying to get rid of him tomorrow. I'm not, but hang on, no one has to get him sold out. Loftus-Cheek is still here. This bum has been here for a decade. Start. Yeah, Rome wasn't built in a day, but Rome had one structure up in 1 week. Start getting rid of this place. Make a start to it. Nothing's been fucking done. It's January 10th.
Rome has collapsed as well, so then use Rome example.
Start getting something done. Start getting rid of Loftus-Cheek. Start asking clubs for these bums. But I know no one wants them because they're so fucking horrendous, but let's at least make an effort to start it. If you want to start a process, you need to start getting rid of these players. A process means removing players, going against the board, going against the family.
The problem is
to wake up and do a 10 hug.
The problem is we have 10 injuries and you're talking about getting rid of players. Like, what are you talking about?
I'm sorry. I'd rather use Chukwuemeka for 25 games and have Mount
every one of the players we have right now to field the team. Every one of them.
So when are we going to start getting rid of these players? In 3 years when we finally have the numbers? We have the numbers.
We're not getting rid of the players. What do you want about Matt?
No, but Matt has a point. Yeah, Matt has a point.
Go on, Harry. Go on, Harry. Go on, mate. Go on.
Yeah, because Matt has a point. Because if it's look at it in this way, all the way back, managers dating past managers, let me say that, yeah? All of them have had the same complaint. Same players, same problems. They're not willing to give enough. They're not willing to run hard enough. Everyone just... Yeah, so basically the problem is effort. These players are not willing to put in effort. Havertz does not do anything on that pitch. Mount... I don't know whether it's because of his injury, but that his passing game is off. Whole season, it's been off. So at this point, it's past the manager. Like we know we have Graham Potter for the foreseeable future. Even if he's not the man to take us to the next level, he will be the one to at least start the process. You know what I mean? He will start the process, and maybe later we'll get someone who will finish it. But Graham Potter has to start it. But the thing is, the players are not good enough. The players are not good enough.
You know how we ended up in this position? By going through managers and getting the players, and then we're stuck with a whole bunch of players, and that's how we got there. So you're willing to give to get new players in and give it to Potter, which Potter is already, for me, giving me a lot of doubt, right? If he can take us forward. So this is someone that hasn't done it before. I can't go off anything he's done. You're willing to give this man, right, players that could potentially add to the problem you're complaining about now, right? Because if he doesn't do well, his players are going to be stuck here too, right? So in an accumulation of all the other players that you can't get rid of, right? and the process is going to keep going on, and it's going to affect us for years. My biggest worry is
that's why we're
why should we back this man?
It's not about backing Graham Potter. It's about building a club identity. Build a club identity so that the next manager who comes in.
So I've said this a while ago, right? And I know where you're going, and I answer the question. The director of football should have came in first, and the director of football should have been part of whatever philosophy he wants to do, style, go after those players, and the manager that combines it, not the other way around, right? So that's why, because that process didn't happen that way. And the way Bowley is going now, Potter is performing now, because as much as you hate these players or you think they're not good enough, and every manager did complain about them, all those managers got more than 10th place out of them, right? And we've got a whole bunch of new players that come in that should have actually helped. We have a better team than we had quite a few seasons ago, right?
And a lot of injuries.
Yeah, and a lot of injuries, but we should still be better than 10th.
Just ignore that. That's just
to be fair to Graham Potter, he didn't even have a preseason. You know that.
You want one second, Declan. You want Potter to show us what he can do, and you want to see what he wants to do. And I get all that because I keep saying that as well. Play the system that you want to play the formation you want to play, fine. But you cannot deny that without certain personnel in the system, if you haven't got that, you're not going to really see what you want to see, in my opinion, especially with players that are coming in that are half the quality. And that's the issue. We have numbers. We have players, right? But it's the quality of the players, and then it's them playing in the systems that's being asked by the manager. Because what I saw yesterday, and I'll be honest with you, they didn't have a clue. They didn't even play with each other.
Yeah, and these are young footballers. You're right. Exactly.
I would agree, but when he had the personnel, Jim,
the quality that's required.
It's still the same shit, Jim. So same
shit. I agree, but I want to see something. I want to see something without the quality, some structure, some way of playing. Shoehorn some players in so we can see something, refine something, so we can say, you know what, Potter needs this type of player, and if he gets it, this is going to be a lot better. There's nothing. Every game, what he reminds me of is what Pep was doing every finals, overthinking it, right? Every game, it's a new system. He changes it midway through. He's just he's mixing it up a lot, right? I don't think he knows. Sorry?
Has he not stuck through a back four this second part of the season?
He went to back three middle of that game too.
Yeah, but that's because but equally that was because
whatever the fuck is doing. No one knows. I guess. Look,
but the moment we had Graham Potter, we knew we were getting that because he is a manager who loves to chop and change.
No, but even the back four, even the back three has been different.
Since the second part of the season, he's stuck to wanting to play a back four. He's not what he did in the first part of the season where he was chopping and changing systems and we were like, we're playing a 3, we're playing a 4, what we're doing is it's like Thomas Tuchel style. He's not done that. Because what he did say a couple of interviews ago was that he now wants to just like stick to the system that he wants to stick to, and then he wants to see sustainability. And that's the next bit. He wants the sustainability. But the issue with the sustainability, like you said, the issue with the sustainability comes that if they're training and they're working on a system, because training and playing matches are two different things anyway. It's then the quality of personnel playing in the system. That's what I'm saying to you. You can train and play and try and play the way he wants to do things, which I think he's trying to do. But at the same time, equally, if you're suffering with injuries like he is, big injuries of players that will be playing, along with asking maybe, second fiddle players to come in and then implement them, and some of them not wanting to even be here, like Hagim's here, it doesn't help, is what I'm saying. So I think time has to still be given. Yeah, I don't think it's very easy to judge him now and say it can't work, is what I'm saying with Potter. And I'm not saying he's the right man, but I just think we need to give them time, and we don't give managers time whatsoever. We just always think, get rid of him.
We lost on the better manager, though. We lost on the better manager.
A manager deserves time, but this team looks like he lost the dressing room.
Yeah, but Jim, what you're saying, we lost on the bed and we started again.
TT is gone. There's no point reminiscing over that.
I'm sorry.
I'm not worried about.
I don't see Potter, man. I don't
want to talk about TT. What I'm worried about is adding to the actual problem we've had for a lot of times. Every manager does deserve time. I agree with that, right? But we are getting at a time where a lot of these players are going to be leaving. A lot of the older players are probably leaving. A lot of players want out, and I think there's going to be a lot of transfers coming in, right?
And then we get better. That is it.
I
think what the code says.
But I don't want to give it to Potter. I don't want Potter's players because
why not?
Because he might not succeed.
What has he done not to deserve this kind of stick? Because as far as I'm concerned, he has
3 months he's been
maybe
here,
barring Cucurella here.
First of all,
Cucurella's not even playing well.
Of course, Cucurella. don't
Can
know
I just
why.
quickly say this? Sorry,
Can't
guys.
even understand that.
Yes,
But
real quick, Harry.
to be
Harry,
honest, that is like the only player you can look at and be like, okay, this is a Graham Potter player. Yeah, true.
Harry, can I just
So,
jump in? real
and there
quick
is
for
no
a
way
second,
Graham
right?
Potter is going to get the best out of this squad with Jorginho in that midfield, who is not progressive at all. I don't know where his progressiveness went, but that man has just been sliding
Harry,
side to side, back.
Harry,
I don't know what's wrong.
Harry, can you hear me?
You're here now.
Harry,
What?
can you hear me? Okay, let me jump in real quick. Sorry, guys. I just wanted to say this one thing. It's not about. I think what Declared's saying is he doesn't trust that that Potter is a good enough manager to take us forward, right? But with that said, he's only been here for 4 months.
Exactly.
Probably
he
the better
hasn't
way
been-
to say it, Couch, is that I think it's a bigger gamble building around him.
Why?
All right,
Based
if
on
it's
what,
not Potter, then who
Well,
else?
But we've seen this team.
don't worry about
get
that
us
because I know
coming,
everyone
get
says
coming
that
with
because
this high.
I've seen some people say who we're going to get. That's not my issue. Is that Potter hasn't done it before, so I have no history to go off, right? So
So
now
how do you know he can do it or can't do it? That's my point. We don't have an actual
we don't.
real.
Jim, you're
we
right.
took it
We,
now,
we
now.
don't know, and I don't know too. You don't know, I don't know. And so what we do know is what's happening in these short amount of games, yeah, with 10 plays. That's what you do know.
okay,
because
but Declared at the
because
same
these
time,
players were that bad, and every other manager that had him did a lot better with these players than Potter. The way this team looks like he's lost.
one key factor though, man. This is the
There
brain
is
trust.
there is
We're not-
nothing but negativity, right, for Potter at the moment, right? He has not done anything yet to prove, right?
And how inconsistent-
What you're speaking, Jim, what you're saying is that how do you know he's not doing it? It's pure hope.
Fred, how inconsistent have these players been for each manager that we've had since Lampard? Even though Thomas Tuchel won the Champions League,
Well-
partly. What happened after?
I think you
Where were
forgot-
we last season?
Just go back. Just go back.
same
Go
problems.
watch the highlights.
Where were we at this time of the year after this many
First.
games last season? First?
Listen, my thing is this: I never wanted Thomas Tuchel to leave. I've already said this a number of times. I didn't.
I didn't too, and I think everyone can agree that sacking was bad. Yeah, so I want to I don't want to keep bringing his name because people keep telling me this is all my feelings are based on.
What I'm trying to target right now is these players because we've got this thing of that every time. If we just bring in a manager with quality, that they will bring the best out of these players, and it's not just about bringing the best out of the players now. It's about bringing out the best out of these players in the long term, the long run, the consistency.
We need to
And we don't
But
have
Jim,
that.
that's
We can't do
I'm
that.
saying
You
that
need a manager,
I'm
not a
saying that
yes
if we give Potter his players,
It's not
and
his
it doesn't
players,
work
it's
out,
not- oh my
It's
god,
not his players.
it's going to
not
add
his
to
players.
what's happening
a
now.
lot of ifs.
Wait,
but
so isn't Kuku his
the
player?
whole lot-
Hang on.
the whole lot
Isn't
of
Kuku his
Hold
player?
on a second. Hold on a
Yeah.
second. It's not his players. We have a brain trust right now. The whole structure of this club has been ripped apart. Whereas before we used to buy players for managers to fill holes here, fill gaps, what we're doing is building a structure to find players, develop players, and then do whatever we want with them. It's not the same structure as before.
No, no, I agree, Coach.
Took the words right out of my
The
mouth.
thing is,
That's the thing
the
that's
thing is
changed.
that Potter came after that. I mean, before that. Sorry, I would agree 100%. Right, with the manager included. If the manager was hired under the director of football, it was hired under Poli, who has proven, like I said, he just learned the offside rule and just knew a small space, no direction. He probably made a rash call, right, and also talked a lot. Thinks he knew, like the guy clearly doesn't know what he was doing. Probably made a massive mistake, right? Now we got someone in that can help out, and Potter was hired before him. So when we get our director of football, his man, one of his managers, approved managers, right? Then what you just said, I agree with, and 100% that all comes into play. Potter is, for me, the guy that wasn't in that plan, right? So that's where I'm saying that it probably doesn't make sense. It's probably different philosophy, maybe different ideas. And if by the end of the season, if we keep going how we're going, maybe that all comes into play. Maybe he gets out and we identify a manager that.
Or maybe we get
But the one thing that I'm sure of is that
Go on.
Yeah.
Harry, go on. Let's forward.
yeah,
Forward,
the one
forward.
thing that I'm sure of is that these guys did not come into the job without having at least some clue of how Graham Potter wants to play. So I'm sure they've sat down and they've devised a philosophy together, because there is no way they're just going to get players and throw them at Graham Potter. They have devised the philosophy together, and they're like, all right, let's build in this way.
We got a director of football that was one of the best. We didn't get a director of football that matches up with Potter. You know what I'm saying? We got a director of football that is going to be here longer than the managers, right? And we went for the best. We probably went for a whole bunch of it before we ended up with Al, right? We went for one of the best ones that were out there, and however Potter felt, right, didn't even come to play. They're going to try and make it work, but like I said, Potter was after the fact, and he's showing nothing. We're going to have bad times like this in the future. There is nothing there.
The owners dug this hole by getting rid of Thomas Tuchel, right? They've committed by 100%. Giving Graham Potter a 6-year contract, I think it is, or 7-year, whatever it is they're giving him, right? So
5 years.
It's not a thing of that. I don't think they will get rid of him. What I think they will do is give him time to do what he wants to do, something that you might not agree on, but they will give him time to do what he wants to do. Eventually, this squad is going to improve, right? Supposedly, we're going to have better players. We're going to have a better depth. And the idea then will be for the manager with these players to implement it in his system and get the best out of them over time. Now, these things ain't going to happen all in between now, because I'll tell you why, right? He came in, how many games after Thomas Tuchel and inherited his squad? He then had the World Cup. We then had all these injuries. There's a lot of things that we can't ignore with what's gone against the manager, right? It's not like he had fresh team, players available, no problems, a clean run. No issues. These are things that cannot be ignored. And I get why you're saying we have to look at the now and what we're seeing, and it's not good. And I get that. I understand we can't lose the way that we did yesterday. I agree with you. That's not right. But equally, there is a lot of context to what is going on for the guy as well that doesn't get spoken about. And that's why I think the owners will look back and go, we're going to give him time. We're going to back him. We're going to get the players in. We're going to let him implement what he wants to do. And then if they're doing their bit, but the team and the squad's not progressing, the understanding is not there, the players are then still not playing for him, then there has to be a discussion then. It's too early to be saying that now with Graham Potter, for me personally. I can't.
Jim, I agree with everything. I've had that.
Before you go, Forward's not spoke once yet. I just wanted to just quickly talk.
My bad, yeah. We messed up the order too. You were going in an order before.
Forward, exactly.
Yeah, I'm good, bro. I mean, I'm just listening to the conversation, just chilling in it, just hearing what everybody has to say on the situation, obviously, because it is a clusterfuck at this moment in time. But obviously, in regards to yesterday, listen, I'm beyond the point of getting hurt and upset about results. Really, I would accept it after the Brighton defeat that we're more than likely not getting top 4, and the season's going to be pretty much a write-off unless we somehow get a miracle in the Champions League, which is not going to happen again. So I'm just here to see the youngsters do well. To hopefully see a lot of these guys who we understand are not good enough for Chelsea Football Club to be moved on, and just to see what Potter does. Now, not in a sense of judging him in terms of, we lost yesterday, and we're like, 1 win in 8 games now, so I think he needs to be sacked. No, I think it's way too premature to be looking at all of that, because we've just invested 60 million in this guy. Again, a 5-year contract, 12 million a year, that works out 60 million pounds. On top of that, compensation for getting him out mid-season from Brighton. And on top of that, getting his recruitment team from Brighton. So we are fully invested in the Potter project. And I feel like we just have to see that out for at least a year or 2 and just see how it works. For me, I look at it as the end of next season, we assess how he's done so far. And if we think he's good enough to continue, then sure, we continue. If not, we cut ties, we part ways, and we find somebody else. But until then, I think it's way too early to be having discourse on if Potter's the right man for Chelsea. I think we can judge what he's been doing so far and question certain things tactically, even his man management. Like, for example, I didn't like that he brought Mason Mount back into the fold straight away after missing 1 game when you had Chukwuemeka, who played a very good game against Man City at home. Why not let him at least play and let Mason Mount work his way back into the team? Because it's not like he's in great form, along with the rest of the players that are constantly performing for this team right now. So little things like that I want to judge Potter on, but in the grander scheme of things, we just have to give it time, guys, and accept that we're having a bad season. It's pretty much like 15-16. We just got to ride the wave, firm it for now, and we'll see how it goes in the long term. I just hope that the methods and the procedures that Ole's putting in place behind the scenes with the technical directors, the whole board he's got in place, the recruitment team, this long-term strategy, which is revolving a lot around buying youth players and seeing how that whole process works out. We just have to hope that provides fruit in the long term. But until then, we just got to see how it is and just firm it, really. That's all it is.
I agree, and I think, and I'm not saying he's the man. Like when people say, "Oh, you're like," it's not defending him. It's it's just about giving the guy time, to do what he wants to do. And if he can't do it, and he still can't make it work, then yeah, we can have that discussion. But he's just well too early for me. Just quickly, Benfica coach has said that Enzo Fernandes' story is closed. There is nothing left. He's our player. He's in a good position. Enzo is happy, training well. He's part of the team. He's a key player. That's all. Great news.
Oh my days.
I mean, that's what a manager would say in that situation. And I remember Brendan Rodgers saying something similar when Fofana was being targeted by us as well. So obviously, as far as he's aware, he wants to keep things settled, which is Enzo's training well, and we're gonna play him for the next game. But of course, Enzo is still pushing. His agent is still pushing. We are still pushing to get the deal sorted. So again, that one we just have to wait and see.
I don't know, mate. We'll see. We'll see. All right, let's go on to Nomadic. Nomadic, what are you saying?
I declared.
I knew you'd come after
the
me.
somersault.
Declared always declares.
You know, I always have beef with declared.
Yeah.
But
I won't cut you off. I'll let you talk to it. I'll mute my mic.
Okay, I see we're evolving now, but the whole thing, I think it's just the same as.
I disagree.
Declared. We can't be doing this every time.
No.
But as I think Ford has said, it's just a lot of problems run deep in this team. And I think it's a little bit disingenuous when we're saying Potter out or anything. Even if people want Potter out, I think 80% of these players should be going before Potter goes out. I think that's the thing. Even if you don't believe Potter is the man for the job, 80% of those players should be out before him. It just doesn't make sense. There's, I think Fofana has only played 2 games out of a possible 17 that he would have played with Potter. I think Reece has only played, 5 games out of a possible 17. Potter hasn't worked with Ngolo yet. I think he's worked with Chilwell 3 times or something. You take those people out of this team and we're just a shambles, and it's finally showing. It's just, when was the last time we even had a strike? And I know the problem is it's just not striking. There's no service. But when was the last time we had a striker that even scored 20 goals? I think, was it Tammy or something? No.
Diego
Did Tammy
Costa.
even get...
Tammy only got to 17 goals.
Exactly. We can't have J5 being our top scorer with 7-8 penalties or something. It just, there's so many problems. I can't remember the last time we had, as someone has said, it was Costa. And when did Costa leave? During contest season. There's so many things that run deep when people are making fun of us, like Haaland has scored more for his individually than the whole Chelsea team. Also, there's so many things wrong with us that it's very short-sighted for us to just say Potter out, Potter out. You bring Pep into this team, he will probably scrap up a few more points, but then the problems will still remain. I think that's my whole point. There's so many things. And I think on socials over the last couple of hours or the last 24 hours, I'm finally glad that I'm seeing people realize that it's a lot of things. We've been patching over this team for so long that it's finally catching up to us. We were due such a season. We were due such a season, but we were just patching up things and reaching finals and all that. Since when did Chelsea ever reach, during our Drogbas and our Lampards and everything, when did you ever hear Chelsea going to Wembley 3 times in a row and missing out on all those 3 caps? Our mentality has been shit for a couple of years, but we've been peppering over them. It has never been the case. When we went to Wembley, we were probably assured of that cup. But now it's just been L's after L's after L's. And I'm just thinking we need to realize we've been shit for a while and it's finally catching up to us. Someone else can go in.
I'm just pissed with the Enzo news. Sorry, just had to say that. It's annoying me thinking about it. But yeah, AJ, what you're saying?
No, I agree with like basically everything Nomadic is saying and forward and just everybody really, like she said though, it's deep problems that's been going on for years. So I guess we were due a year like this because Chelsea somehow over the last 20 years, even in turmoil and just, not a good time, we still end up winning a trophy, or we still end up, finishing in the top 4 or winning the Champions League, or, something like that. So I think both times we won the Champions League, we had changed the manager. So it's that's something that we're kind of known for. But on Potter, like, I see things that I like, but then I see a lot of things that I don't like. And, some of them are can be changed. Like his posture, his like on the touchline, his the way he, gives off instruction or doesn't give any type of instruction, or just gives off some type of energy to the team. So you have to be influential, like in intangible ways like that. It doesn't just have to be yelling this, that, and the third, but the team has to understand the situation based on, your energy get off the touchline and what you say in press conferences and, how you are around them. So it's these things, where when you step to that next level, he can't just be the same, that he was at Brighton, because it's not the same. You're just not at the same place,
And there's also a process there as well,
It's way different,
Yeah.
So you can't just be the same. Everybody has to change, all the players, when you step up to Chelsea, you have to improve, you have to be better, so. But my thing with Potter is him recognizing, like the characteristics of players like that we currently have. I know this is not his team and there's a bunch of players from different managers, but the basic of coaching is you recognizing the characteristic of a player and putting him in a situation to succeed. In the Premier League game against City earlier in the week, we started with Kova and Zach in the middle, and they didn't dominate the midfield, but they held their own. We had a balance in the midfield. Chukwuemeka came on and he gave us an attacking spark. Why not carry that into the next game? Why do we now need to play Jorginho in a game where we're not going to be having possession? So Jorginho is a possession-based player. Why are we putting Jorginho in that situation to just be chasing whoever's in the midfield?
Made no sense. 0 sense.
It doesn't make sense, so that is that type of decision. It's
why didn't he go for it? Like, I thought the FA Cup was like one of the only things we can probably salvage.
Exactly. That too, exactly. So it's like those decisions, to me, I understand, some players maybe need fitness. Mount needs some fitness because he was out for a week or whatever. But he could come on. He could come on for Chukwuemeka. He could come on for Kova. Give Kova 60 minutes and then take him off. We took off the midfielders and brought on Zach. Why didn't he just start if you're going to bring him on anyway? These are players that Zakaria has proved that he's an important player for us right now in this moment. Like, just accept it, We have a lot of injuries, so that plays a massive role. Like,
you think he's trying to give players the opportunity to show it?
It's too late for opportunity. Like, the opportunity was that
he's still trying to understand. Is what I'm trying to say.
That month and a half before the World Cup was the opportunity. After the World Cup, it's business time. Like, that's what I said before. This is your time to learn about the team, and once everybody comes back, you guys have to go on a run, because at that time we were like in 8th place. We've dropped back even more now, So it's just like those are the things that are frustrating to me. But again,
we're 10 points off fourth at the moment. We're 10 points off top 4 at the moment. A lot of games still be played. I just don't see where we're going to put some consistency forward. Go on forward. What are you saying?
No, I'm just saying top 4's done. That's why, like, for me, I have a lot of apathy to the situation where, like, I can't really get mad at much. Like, yesterday's probably the most mad I've been, which wasn't really much, but the most mad I've been since Brighton, just because, like, it was obviously in the wake of Vialli's passing. Obviously, that's a club legend.
Oh, yeah.
He paid homage to him greatly throughout the week. I saw even the players putting on the number 9 shirt in the warm-up. So, like, we've done all of these things, and, like, one of these kind of, like, unwritten laws in football. But normally when you're playing for, like, a bit of a bigger meaning, like, it doesn't always mean you're going to win, for sure, but it means you at least put that extra 2 or 5%. You just find it somehow. And again, the way we conceded the first goal, it is what it is. Free kick happened, right? brilliant, like individual brilliance that we don't have in our squad right now to perform. Mahrez gets that free kick, cool. And like I remember tweeting out at the time, like, okay, we conceded the great goal. It is what it is. Like, will these players rise to the occasion or will they crumble? And they crumbled like a deck of cards. I mean, it was just embarrassing. And to do that on that day of all days, it was just like, again, I already knew who these players were, and they just showed me it. And again, some of them have decent ability. We know that they're not good enough for this club, but in terms of like winning titles, which we know, but they also just show me that their mentality just isn't it to be even anywhere near this football club. So as far as I'm aware, or as far as I'm concerned, a lot of these guys need to get out in the summer, and we just need to be ruthless. Potter needs to be ruthless.
You know what else in this
His
sport?
team needs to be ruthless. The board needs to be ruthless.
You know what's missing too with the performance, and again, I understand that Tuchel is a different manager, but he seemed to always get the balance right on the pitch, you know, and I don't see that with Potter right now. Like, he doesn't mix the right sort of like collection of players together. Like, even when you look at that back line, he had Lewis Hall, who I thought should play. He played Humphreys, who is young, and he played Koulibaly, and then he played Chalobah at right back. You know, like, it's just the balance, like the leadership, the players that are playing in positions that they're comfortable in, the ability to find guys that, you know, have some sort of a chemistry together. Like, every time I see him put a lineup up together, I'm like, really? Is this where the chemistry is going to be formed? Like, it doesn't look like we have a cohesive.
That's my reaction too.
I hear you on that.
He's
like,
tinkering a lot.
It's hard to compare it to Tuchel, just because with Tuchel, like, let's not pretend that we didn't have terrible results where we questioned the lineup. Like, I remember 4-1 against Brentford at home. We thought, what the hell was going on there?
But comparing with any other manager we've had, you know what I mean? Like, I think Potter's tinkering a lot. I know we have injuries, this and that. Yeah, I agree. But I don't think he kind of knows how he wants to play. He wants to try this and that. I think he's got multiple ways, and that's probably what he did at Brighton. Maybe that's how, because at Brighton there's a different approach. Clubs are going to come at you, and you know, a draw is a good result. And I think he tinkered a lot to surprise, right? And maybe that might be good for Cups and that later on. Who knows?
I mean, he tinkered a lot when he was trying to find out about his squad. Like, he tinkers a lot generally, but he always
that's not right. Every manager tinkers a lot. I just mean that there's a thing where you want to be unpredictable. You get what I'm saying?
I hear that, but the thing is, eventually,
Tuchel did as well too.
Whether it was Sons, whether it was Swansea, whether it was Brighton, he eventually stumbled upon, he eventually worked towards a system, and it was a set formation or the way of playing that was stable. Like, he always wanted to build a stable team, and even said it in previous interviews where, like, my goal isn't to always switch the team up, but switch the team every single game. Like, ideally, I want to have a settled 11 that plays every week and plays the same football every week. That's consistent, that's sustainable, and that is winning football. Obviously, right now, all the injuries and players that are underperforming despite being on big wages and having big names, like, of course he's gonna switch and change. And again, that's why for us, of course, we can criticize, because I'm critical of what he's been doing. I don't like a lot of the things that he's been doing. But that said, we still have to give him time, because we understand that the fundamental issue, at least with this team, is the players. And a lot of these players, again, like Nomadic said, 80% of these players need to go before I can even start questioning whether Potter needs to go.
Yeah, but you know what?
I gotta say,
sorry, Declare. Just let me jump in. Yes. I just want to quickly rebut. Like, I do agree that he needs time, and I've said that from the minute I came on here. I do agree with that. The problem I have is how many times have you seen Graham Potter put out a lineup and you question it, and then it comes back like 20 minutes into the game, you realize that the lineup that he put together was 100% wrong. He has to switch it before half, bring in some player. Like, that's what I'm talking about. The balance. It's not about, like, you know, tinkering and figuring it out. Like, his pre-match assessment, like, the balance of the squad has been wrong a lot. And that's where you need to fix up for me. He needs to be making the right assessment. Like, Humphreys, Lewis, Koulibaly, and Chalobah. That does not look like a back four to me versus a Man City.
But then it also goes to options, isn't it, though? Couch. It also goes to options and what you have available, right? Because to have balance, you have to have players that play in positions that play to the strengths.
It just seemed to me he was just trying to give opportunities to players rather than just play the match. Because Chalobah should have been playing at center back, you know, and Humphreys, maybe if the game's, you know, getting away from you, bring him on, give him some minutes. Like, he looked like a fish out of water. Let's just be real. You know, like.
But Couch, there was no winning with him on this, and I don't like a
We
manager
went
who also
1-0
like
last
thinks
game,
on
right? We
what.
went 1-0 last
Yeah.
I'm
game.
saying there was no winning with him on the trip, and I'm glad he did that on that game yesterday, because now everyone in the fan base can stop talking about Trevor. Try back. A lot of people
But
have
why
been
is it
calling.
about the fan base though?
No,
Like,
I'm saying just
I want to
listen.
see
I'm
us
saying
win
a lot of
games.
people have been saying try Trevor, try back.
But why
He'll
does
be
I think
fine.
Trevor
why
So,
does
so,
he do that
so
to the
wait,
club? Why does
Nomadic,
he
you saying that
care?
Potter did this to clear up
No,
a
why do you
request
take
that
my words
online?
and twist
No,
it?
no, no.
Why do you take my words and
Hey,
twist
no,
it?
I'll tell you something.
You
I
don't
agreed
have
with
to
what you
twist
said.
it,
Yeah,
declared.
I agree. I wanted to say I agreed with what you said. My problem with the whole thing, 80% of the players have to go, right? But Potter hasn't done anything here for me to say, hey, give me millions of dollars and get me my players, right? And I'll show you what I can do. That's where I have my doubt, because if Potter doesn't work, because as that is the ideal way for every manager that comes in, right? Once they get their players to see how they really want to play, that's the best way, right? But for me, if you do that for
Oh
a player
shit,
and it
not
doesn't
this
work out,
again.
then you have a whole bunch of players that aren't for the next manager that comes in and whatnot, right? And
What are we
this is how.
doing with this whole Joao Felix thing?
No,
I don't want
no,
him.
no,
I don't want him.
no.
I can I can actually see that happening on a loan.
No.
But we don't need him.
I didn't say I'm not all for it. I'm
No,
just
I'm not.
saying this
I'm not
sounds
saying
very
you. I'm just saying
possible.
it's just typical
We pull out
Chelsea
of
to
Enzo
go
and we
panic
don't
and get
fucking look at
him.
Joao Felix.
Jem, you remember
I
when we
think
talked about
in
like
I don't know why we're
this
buying
era,
any
we
players.
don't need him.
Why are we buying any players?
So I just
One
want to say
second,
because
Just for
Jem.
injuries.
Jen, remember on the previous stream we talked about like not wanting to repeat the same mistakes of buying
Yes.
short-term solutions, but when
Yes.
we're for long-term problems, right?
Yes.
Felix
Yeah.
is looking like another one of those because again, no matter whether you like him or not, because I do rate him as a player, but I don't think he fits now, especially when you've gone and signed Nkunku, who is another kind of like false nine type of player. We already have kind of like a false nine type
Speak
of
on
player.
it.
But
12 false
now you want to
nines.
add Felix.
Hey,
It
but the
doesn't
difference
make
here
sense.
is that
What is this, a loan?
Felix will be on a trial. Like he's on a loan, right? So he's going to show you if he's worth it or not, right? If you want to buy him. If you're not, see you later. There's nothing to salvage. If you're really interested in Felix, right? Or actually intrigued, right? I'm not. He's a good player, good talent for me, but I don't know how he's going to fix what we got and how he's going to be played. But in a season where we've got nothing to play for, we get Felix, right? If I'm just playing out the scenario, and he does really well, stands out from all these poor players, then a deal can be struck if there's a good price there as well, and then it might change everyone's mind. But if he comes here, stinks up the place. I mean, I was all for Saul as well, right? And he was nowhere like his past self, right? And that was a guy got rid of. That could have been a really bad deal if we bought him. So
Declared. The
getting
whole package
Felix
for
on a
getting
loan.
Felix is like 20 million. Why don't you add that 20 million and get me Enzo? The whole
Exactly.
package.
20 million
I
for
agree.
half the season.
We shouldn't get no player. We shouldn't get any player unless it's for the next season, right?
No, we
So
shouldn't
even
get
getting
players.
Enzo on the release clause, no. Try get him at the end of the season. Maybe you don't have
It's
to pay
gonna
the
be the
release
same
clause.
shit.
We
He
are not
doesn't-
getting
We
him
can't get him. We can't get him
at
in the
the end
summer.
of the season.
We're gonna get outbid in the summer, 100%. There's so many better.
Yeah, no.
Not even
So
that. Why would he
no,
come
hold
to a
on.
10th place team?
If you can strike a deal now for the next season, right, which is cheaper, because what you have to understand, right, is that any player you go for in January, right, is going to cost more. Their wages are going to cost more, right? This is desperation season, right? Unless a player really wants to go out like Felix, right, and maybe loans are struck. But in this, it doesn't make sense unless you're desperate. There's nothing to salvage this season.
What does Felix?
Let's build a lineup with
right
Felix
now?
on it.
What is he?
I don't
doing?
worry about don't worry about Felix. What I'm saying is we shouldn't get any player, no players, zilch,
No,
right?
we
Nothing to
should get
salvage, right? Have a proper preseason, like players lined up to bid for, right? And go from there. Players that you want, not in the players that you can't get, not in the desperate January.
If you think you can get a specific target in the position in the January, and it's obviously one that's available and decent, why would they not do that? They should do that. There's no point of just not doing anything if there is an availability of a specific profile of player that a manager wants, that maybe they want as well. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we shouldn't buy players. I think that if a chance arises for a specific profile that fits, then yeah, go for it. You know, get it done, because there's so many things we still need to sort out. It's not just one area. We need
100%, but it needs to be the right player. It needs to be the
I
right
agree
player.
with
On the point that you
with the
made,
mindset with the mindset of next
but this
season, not the mindset of now. Does that make sense?
No, I hear that.
So
I hear that. But I'm
it's
just saying,
unlikely to strike a good deal in
it has to
January.
be the right player, because even Saul, which was meant to be a short-term thing, that still stopped us from getting Tchouaméni at the time. It was a choice between Tchouaméni or Saul. And again, the talk on Tchouaméni was,
I thought it was from missing out Tchouaméni because it was the last final day.
No. What happened between Tuchel and the recruitment head at the time? I don't know if it was Loditron or maybe somebody else, but the talk was that we could get Tchouaméni now, but they wasn't showing Tchouaméni because of his experience. They thought he needed another season in Monaco before he'd be ready for the Premier League. So we said, you know what, let's get somebody who is experienced in Saul on loan, and that'll be enough for the season. And we all saw how that panned out. He was terrible. Tchouaméni had another great season. Now he's playing for the best team in the world. So, look, I mean, that's why I don't want to just continually get short-term options.
That's being naive. That like as if no one else was going to try going for Tchouaméni. Do you know what I mean?
No, but we were in for him early though. That's the point. We were in for him early. He wasn't on everybody's radar. Then he had the next season, and Real Madrid snapped him up. That's just how it went.
I'm not too sure on João Felix. I don't think he's the specific profile.
Why do we keep throwing money
We
at
still
that
need a
front
midfielder
line
and a right
without
back.
fixing that midfield? It will never work unless we fix our problems in the midfield. I don't understand why
there is a really low risk with the gamble of Felix.
It is a lot of risk if you're spending 20 million, and that 20 million.
No. You know what risk is? Paying 120 million for Enzo, and maybe he's not the player you think he is. That's a massive risk. That goes for any player. Buying a player on loan is nothing.
No, but
he's actually trialing for you.
20 million. It's
not
a 5 million Zakaria
loan. That's his wage.
It's not a 3 million Zakaria loan, and he's on like 100K per week wages.
Yes,
this
so
guy's on like 6 million for the next 6 months, and they want about 14 million. We didn't even give Lukaku out for a whole year.
But there'll be a good option to buy. There'll be a good price for option to buy as well. But what you're getting for your money
is not the profile we need.
What you're getting for your money is to see if he's about,
Is he the profile we need in that team? That's the
no.
At this point, we have to stop buying names. We have
having
to
said that, we don't know what profile we need because Potter doesn't play a certain way, so we can say this is what he needs, right? So no one knows what he needs, right? That's what I don't want Felix as well. But what I'm saying, for any player that we go for, right, that we see maybe a potential future for next season, that we're a little unsure. Like for example, Enzo, right? It would have been great to. What if we got Enzo 6 months alone, and then we pay the release clause, and in that 6 months he showed why he's worth 120 million. Perfect. If not, we don't pay his release clause, and we say we don't take that risk, right? Do you see what I'm saying there?
The point.
Do you see that any other player that we're getting a look in before we actually add to a whole pile of deadwood that we have? I'm saying that this sounds good for any player that we have a little doubt with, right, or more doubt, or whatever way you want to look at it.
I do see what you're saying, but a quality player like Felix could easily flop without the right players behind him. There isn't the base in this midfield or the defense to actually support a player like Felix, so he might flop anyways, even if he is a good player. For me, I would rather target the midfield and the defense first before you go and get another attacker, because we spent millions on the attack in the last 3 summers, and who's been a success that we signed in the attack? Nobody. Havertz, Werner, Lukaku, Ziyech, all different types of players, all have flopped. For me, target the midfield. We've only signed like 6 players in the last 8 years.
Yeah, Felix is at that age. He's meant to be leading. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the Aubameyang, Sterling, all these players are meant to be the player that you're talking about. They're meant to be leading the rest of these group, and maybe he could do that. And you'll get a sniff of that. You'll give him more leeway when if he actually plays well. You're going to see he's going to play well, but not look as great, because you already accepted that this team doesn't do well, right? So you're going to give him some leeway because of what you just said as well, right? But what the main point I'm making is the concept of having a looking, right, on a season that is pretty much a write-off, and saying, yeah, no, and then let's move on, rather than
we
committing
don't need to have a
something.
When we already teetering off the FFP, and then
Dominic, I'm going to use.
That's what we're trying
I'm going to use one of your excuses. How do you know it's not going to work? When we have this part back and forth, how do you know it's not going to work?
You put Felix in an Arsenal team right now, and he will be sensational. You go put João Felix and put him in that Arsenal team right now, he will be sensational. Put João Felix in this team right now, he will be terrible. He will
Yeah, I
give
agree.
you one or two flashes like Havertz does.
So wait, put
but then
Enzo
he
in this
will be
team, and he's going to be
terrible.
terrible.
But
No, he's
we
not.
have
He's
to.
not going to be
Why?
terrible.
Put
Why
Mbappe
would
in
we
this
be
team, is
doing
where he's
that?
going to be terrible. Like, what are you trying to say? We know we're terrible. What I'm saying, you're trying
Exactly.
to
So
move
why
forward.
go bring him, and then you know it's not gonna work with him? Who's gonna?
Yeah.
And it's
Wait,
not
It's
just
not the
bringing in
profile
Felix.
that we need.
We've
So-
already got another player like Felix coming in the summer. We've just signed in Kunku. If we didn't sign in
I can't
Kunku,
believe that you guys
would
are
have to accept the idea
worried
of
about the
Felix, but
risk.
we've literally
Click,
got
you're
Kunku coming in the
you're
summer.
saying
It doesn't
how do
make
you know
sense to
how
get
do you know
Felix
it's not
now.
going to work, right?
No, that was
Sterling-
problematic. That's how I got replied for some of my things. What I'm saying is that end of the season we're gonna go for players, yeah. We're gonna go for players. We don't know if they're gonna work out, yeah. Enzo, it could be Rice.
Yeah, but bro, there's a perfect example there with Sterling. When I saw us linked to Sterling, I said it to all my boys at the time. I said, listen, this signing is pointless if we don't get creativity in midfield, because Sterling's not a hazard type player to pick up the ball and beat 6-7 players with the ball.
Thank you.
Sterling needs to be in the box.
Problem is the midfield.
Creating chances and finishing tap-ins, right? Or you'll
Isn't
get
Felix
the
that player?
outside of the box. Felix is not going to solve what we need right
No.
now. I wouldn't mind. I would be
Yeah.
more open to the Felix move if towards the end of the window we've signed a centre midfielder who's got creativity. We've
Yes.
signed the right back.
Exactly.
It's a
And
package
then we
deal.
get linked to Felix. It's like, okay,
It has
cool.
to be a package.
He can
Exactly.
He can
Hey, I
potentially
didn't say-
hopefully get us top 4. But
Just
right
so-
now,
I think I'm being misunderstood. I didn't say don't buy any of those players. What I'm saying is those players that you mentioned, yeah, if they're such a high-profile player and they cost a lot and it's a risk as well, any right back and creative midfield that you're talking about that's on that level, right? Let's get them on loan too. Let's have a looking and sign them at the end of the season. What I'm saying is that to solve that problem in January is going to cost a lot.
Bro, you are assuming a lot today. You know that. I'm listening to you. And you're just assuming.
I'm assuming probably with backing, but you guys are very up in the air lotto style hopeful.
You can't just loan
Which
players.
team is gonna
That's
get?
how football works.
Why would Benfica invest on a look?
No, I'm going off your
They're
tweet. I
just-
said that would be a great scenario for us.
Yes, it
in
is. but
terms of seeing, and then I put the example on any other player because you guys got so hung up on Felix. I'm not even for Felix.
You can't just loan
If you
players.
declared, what midfielder would you want if you get Felix?
Why would you put up that tweet for Jem then?
Huh? About
Saying
what?
that we can loan a player, we can loan Felix. That we're in for loaning in Felix. You put up a tweet that was a report that we're looking in because we all know that he's trying to leave, yeah, and he could be loaned to anywhere else as well, not just us.
Yeah, but your argument was that if we want to sign players in positions that we need, we should just get them on loan. And I'm saying no, we shouldn't do that.
No, that's not what I said. I said if they're a massive money risk, right? Ideally, it would be great to get them on a loan. I'm not saying that.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you if it was
That is
towards
to
the
our
end of the
favor.
window.
It's not realistic. I agree. It's not realistic, right?
like that. That's what I was saying.
It doesn't work like that. What I'm trying to emphasize on how good that deal is for us, right? On loaning. Imagine so just like the João Felix one, because everyone's so hung up on the name rather than the loan part of it, right? Because that's what I was thinking about it.
What I'm hung up on. I'll tell you. It's not even just for me. It's not the money, the loan, all that. It's how does he fit Chelsea, and how do we get better from him being in the team? And again, I do this with all players that come to Chelsea. And when you put João Felix in Chelsea, it's what is it that he's going to do that's going to make us better? Because for me,
if we play 4-2-3-1, does he play the number 10?
That's why I want to build a lineup and see.
Hey, like I said, my biggest issue with Potter is that he hasn't made that clear for us to go. He's a puzzle piece.
Is João Felix a creator, or is he someone that needs to be created for? What is he?
I think he's a creator.
Well, so
He's a hybrid. He's a hybrid.
He's like a Havertz type who you can't really put.
So when we say hybrid, is he makes the Mount hybrid? He can do a bit of everything, but he's not the master.
He's not a central midfielder. He's not a striker.
So
he's somewhere in between there.
Solve that problem, is it? Because what we're saying is we need to have a right back. We need creative elements. We need a right back to back Reece James up. We need a deep line creative midfielder. And why I say with the forward line we need another creator. The type of creator we need in the forward line, in my opinion, is someone that's able to dribble
on the ball.
On the ball. We don't have dribblers. João Felix is going to be a player that's based on movement, who's going to, I feel, want to receive balls in spaces. Yeah, and we may be able to finish. Don't get me wrong, but ultimately the big issue still stands. Who's creating from the deep line? Because we play out from the back. We don't hoof balls up the pitch. We build up from the back. So who's playing them quick balls into these players?
We don't have the structure. We don't have the proper structure for a player like João Felix, which is why most of our attackers don't work because they all
do we have the structure for Nkunku then? If we're looking at
that's why we need a midfielder. That's I want Nkunku, but we need a midfielder. It has to be a package. It has to be both.
So we shouldn't have bought Nkunku either, then, right?
No, that's not true.
No, because he's coming in the summer, and we knew we were.
But who's going to feed him then?
Nkunku is Felix. It's basically the same.
He's gonna.
It's like you guys are saying that we shouldn't buy get X player because we don't have Y player.
No,
and like
it's not saying it doesn't get
what we're saying, Couch.
That's exactly what you guys are saying.
No, what we're saying is we don't need to get X player now when we haven't got the support system in place to support.
Wait, hold on. Let me. Maybe I misunderstood. You said why get Felix because he's going to look bad in this team. We need so player, right? And we need him now.
Get Felix if we get a central midfielder who can provide him the ball in the spaces that he needs.
But Catch brought up a great point. Who's going to provide that ball for Nkunku?
That's why I said don't get Felix.
Who's more out of João Felix and Nkunku, right? Who's more like Havertz and Mount, let's say, in player? When you look at them, who do you think has more of the same abilities to Havertz and Mount?
Felix.
It's Felix, yeah.
Then why are we buying that player?
Yeah, but look, who's more closer to Werner? Felix or Nkunku? I mean, we can play this game.
Nunes.
Nkunku's very, very like Werner, bro. He's gonna miss.
Wait, what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
And he just speeds up. And just running.
We need
we can play down. We can play down every player, right? But if you go back, Felix can create too. And like I said, I don't even want this guy. I was emphasizing the loan, right? Like I would have loaned. You wanted Enzo? You know what would have been a great deal? If we got him to loan him. Then we can play Felix close.
What will make the Felix deal better? If we got Enzo. That's what would make
That's what makes it better.
Declare. It's a package thing declared.
So Couch is right. We need a central midfielder first, and then a right back before we can buy any other player.
Yes, because if you want to properly build the team and fix the team, that's how you do it. You don't just throw in the magic. You have to get the structure, and then you get the.
But it's not always the order. You know what I mean? We need all those players. We need a whole bunch. You guys,
look at our history. You just talk. You're talking ideally, but look at what we've been doing, and it seems like we're following the same path. That's why we're acting this way.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's the same path. Completely different ownership, completely different structure at the club. Like we can't say that this is the exact same thing. We don't even know where this is headed. We don't know,
bro. I didn't say it definitively. I'm just saying that's where it looks like it's going.
So
that's
what you're used to, right?
We're at January 10th. You know, we still haven't. If we were changing, we would have already signed the right back because Liverpool would already signed the right back. City would have already signed the right back. They would already got their defensive midfielder in. Like that's what I'm saying. We're not moving on these type of players. Why? There's 10 right backs that played in the World Cup that we could have got. Why aren't we getting any one of these players? We're not linked to anyone. We've been fakely linked to this Juranovic guy that I've seen one link. It's not even a serious link.
Can I say this though? Like it's not as easy as you think though. Like first of all,
I'm not saying it's.
Let me finish. Let me just finish, okay? Because you guys are just jumping on my 1 and 2 words, and I can't get the sentence. AJ, I agree with you. I agree with you. Okay? I think we should be looking at a right back as well. But to say that they're not, first of all, keep in mind, Reece James is probably the best right back in the world right now, in my opinion, right? Yeah. So to have somebody come in and be his understudy, somebody that has played at the World Cup, played at the highest level, played for big clubs, to come in and be his understudy. It's not an easy thing to do. Like nobody's going to be just accept being Reece James's understudy. So it's not as okay, well, I'm just going to go join Chelsea because I feel like Reece James is injured for 5 games.
What happened in the summer?
And then I'm going to sit on the bench. You know
what happened in the summer then?
In what summer? What do you mean?
This past summer, why didn't we get a right-sided player?
I mean, it's the exact same thing I just said. Like,
so what you saying? Okay,
it's not as easy to go after these top level names that you're talking about, Juranovic, all these guys, when you know you have Reece James in front of you, and then the guy that And then the guy that you get as a deputy underneath him, is he good enough to play the reserve minutes?
I think the only two players that come, let's say, close, because I agree with you, I think Reece James is the best in the world in his position, but two players that could argue that, and maybe not one who, in my opinion, is Hakimi. Yeah, and I'm talking about players that maybe are available going out, and potentially maybe a Dumfries. Other than that, when you look at the other players that are available in and around the market, how many of them are of the quality of them players, and including Reece James? I don't think there is, if that makes sense. So, while I agree, playing second fiddle to Reece James is not a great thing, but at the same time, the most successful Chelsea teams in the past had challenges across every position, midfield, right back, defence. So, if your attitude is, I don't want to come to Chelsea because I think I should play, don't come. You know, your attitude of coming to Chelsea is because you want to test yourself, you want to better yourself, you want to be one of the best teams in the world, and you want to fight for that position, and you want to show what you can do. That's the attitude players should have when they come.
But you're just speaking of an old-time mentality. That may not be the case anymore, man.
Exactly. Football has changed a lot, Jem. I get what you're saying with that, but trying to Livramento, who's supposed to be Chelsea through and through, could not sit there and be like, I'm going to be an understudy to Reece. All this, like, these are the guys to Brighton and everything. A lot of people probably realize Reece is like top 3 best right backs in the world, you know? And he's not like he's in his 30s or something and he's going to retire soon. He's literally 22 or something. So it's not as if I'm going. So I know we will get someone.
We've had time
but as Couch said, it will take time, and I hope we get someone this window. Yeah. It takes time to convince someone to come be probably an understudy, because when both of you are fit, ideally it's Reece that's going to be the starter.
So why did Cucurella come to Chelsea if Ben Chilwell was in? Because this is rewind for a second, because Cucurella was the best in the league.
Maybe he came thinking that he's better.
You can probably fight off Ben Chilwell for that thing. That's the point. Ben Chilwell is not a Reece James. You can probably fight it out with James. It's the same thing right now we're saying about Badiashile and Colwill. Colwill is probably thinking, yes, Badiashile is there, but I can probably fight him off. But if you give him Vardiol, you look at Colwill, and Colwill is like, how am I keeping off Vardiol off that team?
Cucurella came from real good form from Brighton to Chelsea because, and let's be serious, he knew Ben Chilwell was there, and he knows how favoured Ben Chilwell. Probably if he's watched Chelsea enough, knows how favoured Ben Chilwell is in this team anyway. All right, he got his injuries and that, I get that, but he was always coming back like Reece James eventually. So, why did he have the attitude of and he was what 60-odd million?
Because
he was one of the best
Jim, he was promised something else, I feel. Well, not only Chilwell was come back from ACL, which is such a big deal, right? And probably still couldn't start. But that was probably a Potter signing because he came in to play left centre-back, really, the way Potter used him.
But then maybe he also thought he was going to get more game time because of the injuries. And what we're seeing with Reece James, and touch wood, I hope it's not the case, that he seems to be getting a bit injury prone.
I agree. I think we need a high level.
There's a good chance he was promised
we need a high level backup,
not a backup.
I think we need a high level backup for Reece James without question.
Yeah.
And that's mainly because of how he plays. He's not going to be fit every game. He plays a robust style of football that is going to require him to take matches off. But to find a like for like, maybe not even like for like, to find somebody that is able to come in and deputize for him right now, or even the want and need to deputize for somebody like Reece James, it's not going to be that easy. It's not going to be that easy, especially when you look at the condition of the club right now. Like, let's be real, man.
Yeah, guys, I do need to shoot. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes in. I didn't even know that was the time. Jesus, I've been talking a lot today. But I've enjoyed it. Listen, we're going to continue carrying on shows throughout the week. We're opening the lines. We get you guys and we'll continue this. We'll see if the João Felix topic heats up. We've got transfer talk shows to do through this week as well. And just talking everything Chelsea. So Couch, Nomadic, Forward, AJ, Declared as well. Obviously setting the tone as always. And Don and everyone else that come on. Yeah, if you're free, always welcome to come on and we'll continue this discussion as Chelsea go through the transfer market as well. So, 100%, it'll be good. In the meantime, guys, smash the likes, subscribe to both GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV. 400 of you guys here all the way through. Big up to every single one of you guys that have been here as well. And Chelsea are playing Thursday, right, guys? Is that the next game? I think it is, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I was about to say Friday. It's Friday for me. I'm confused.
Friday,
I don't
yeah,
want to confuse you.
Yeah, Friday for the Australian. Anyway, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Take care of yourselves. We'll be back again very soon. And yeah, see you in a bit. Peace out.